Just waiting for people to come on now. Just gonna wait for some people to come on. How's it going? You're the first person. Hey, Anton, how are you? Good to see you. Hey, Derek. Nice to see you, Derek. Yeah, I figured I'd jump on here. Hey, Sim132, greetings from Germany. Nice. How are you? Yeah, some good people from Germany. So yeah, today I'm just going to talk to you about some natural bodybuilding tips and all that kind of stuff. So answer some questions and everything if you guys have some. Yeah, good, Anton. Good to see you. I've noticed that also, if you guys haven't already, make sure that you go to the bell icon right beside the subscribe button and make sure you click receive notifications, because I've noticed that YouTube doesn't seem to be sending out my videos as efficiently as usual, because my views are going down in a 24-hour period of time for some of the videos. It might be just because my stuff is crap, I don't know, but I'm thinking that some people aren't actually getting notified, because I know YouTube's going through a lot of changes right now. Some of you might have noticed that there are some YouTube channels out there talking about AdSense and the monetization, all this kind of stuff is kind of going to crap right now, because of a lot of big brands are they're boycotting YouTube, so they're not necessarily advertising on YouTube anymore. So change is coming, winter is coming, kind of like Game of Thrones, I guess. So there's lots of ways that people can monetize their channels. You know, I support my channels through some people, like I get a donation once a month or something like that of a couple bucks or whatever, and sometimes the super chats, and also you know, selling programs and things like that on my site just helps me be able to produce these videos and give out free information. So yeah, it's coming to that age where you can't really depend on the advertising. The advertising is so low anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, if you guys noticed, so things are changing on YouTube. So I think that's also changing how they, yeah, the YouTube algorithm or whatever, it's changing sometimes how they're promoting certain videos. Certain content might be more suggestive or censored. I'm sure they're just going through a growing stage. So anyway, just to make sure you guys do get the videos, either sign up on my newsletter on my website, naturalgallantbodybuilding.com, or just go down below and click on notifications and receive notifications. I think it says receive notification. You click on the bell and it said receive updates or whatever, right? So anyway, that'll ensure that you get the updates. So yeah, so I don't know if you guys have seen my video that I put up last night. I put the video up on which exercise to train first, or which body part to train first, and how I choose in a workout. So I don't know if any of you had any questions about that, about you know, what I do in my workouts and why I do it. There was one person that commented and said they thought the lunging form was interesting, the walking lunging form, because they noticed that sometimes I'll do 2 pumps or 3 pumps every time I do a walking lunge. And the reason why I do this is because walking lunges, they have the triple hit combo, I like to call it, like, you know, from, you know, Mortal Kombat or Killer Instinct, where you get a number of hits and then you get extra points when you're fighting a guy. It's like a triple hit combo. You've got instability, you've got momentum, and you've got weight. And stretch, actually. So there's like 4 things going on, really. But the fact is that whenever you have instability and a stretch, as well as you're lifting weight and you're challenging yourself, there's a possibility of an injury. So one of the things I do with a stretching type movement like walking lunges is that I make sure that I'm controlling the momentum. And one way to do that is to just take a step and then go up and down a few times to make sure that tension's staying on the muscle, so I'm not just running through the workout. Because I see some people, they're just like walking, lunging like this as fast as possible just to get the lunges over, because they burn and hurt so bad. But I've pulled hamstrings and stuff doing that, because yeah, if you just start lunging and just bouncing off the bottom all the time, you are going to pull something. So yeah, you got to be careful in those unstable type of movements, right? So whenever you're unstable, you want to make sure that you're taking care of that by controlling the stability, making sure that it is as controlled as possible, and being careful with that. So yeah, that's why I do that. Let me see here, see if I have questions here. Greetings from Italy, Santo Padre. Hey, I loved Italy. I was in Italy about 3 years ago. I did a video on it, actually, taking time off bodybuilding, because there were no gyms. Where I went to Pesaro, and I went to Florence, and I went to Assisi, you know, different places. And yeah, it was tough. It was tough working out over there. So I was basically doing some push-ups and yeah, I really, honestly, I was not doing a lot of working out. I just took about 4 weeks off at that time. So yeah, it was tough finding a gym. But yeah, Italy's just beautiful. Derek P, thoughts on the trap bar deadlift? Trap bar deadlift's great. I'm 43 there, Drew Garden. Yeah, I may compete again. Yeah, I'm starting to get my physique to where I think it's pretty good, and I think that I may be ready if everything goes according to plan. If I keep on eating well and dieting, I think I will be ready for a contest at some point. So, yeah. So anyway, get back to trap bar deadlift. Sorry about that. I get sidetracked. Sometimes it's weird scrolling comments coming up. So trap bar deadlifts, they are good because they take out some of the bending over of the movement in a deadlift. So say you have long femurs like I do, and you bend over to deadlift so much so that you're almost like flat to the floor by the time you actually can reach the floor with the barbell. Well, the trap bar, because it allows you to put the bar or the weight alongside the legs, it allows you to stay a little bit more straight up and down, which takes some of the stress off the lower back. So it's really more like a squat deadlift hybrid. So I don't really do it. I don't do it that much because anytime I'm gripping things, I'm like, okay, well, my grip strength's gonna give out, and I can wrist strap myself up, but I usually just do Romanian deadlifts and stuff for the holding on to heavy weight, and I'd rather just do squats, right? But trap bar deadlift, I can see it being actually very effective because it's just like a squat. It's just the difference is that you're stopping at the bottom, and you're not basically, you don't have the weight on the bottom of the movement. So where it's most dangerous, you're actually stopping, the floor's actually stopping the weight. And it's a safer form of a deadlift for sure. So it can help somebody move into a deadlift by stretching out the hamstring a bit, but not helping, or not stretching it so aggressively that a person may be rounding their lower back. So yeah, I think a trap bar deadlift is a good training ground for a deadlift for sure. Nice. Some of you guys are popping on. Yeah, sorry I came on a little bit later today. I also wanted to, like sometimes when you upload videos on YouTube, you want to give it a certain amount of time so that everybody's been notified that that video is uploaded. And because I uploaded a video so late last night, I wanted to make sure that it had a little bit of traction so people actually watch the video. Because when you spend 4 hours editing a video, it's kind of discouraging when nobody watches it. So I didn't want to kind of get in the way of YouTube's promotion by jumping on here live too quickly, right? So what have I been doing these days in the gym? The big dirty? What I've been doing is a 2-day split mostly. So I'll do chest, back, buys, and I'll do, it's basically a hybrid of my 2-day split program that I sell on my website. And then I do shoulders, tris, and legs on the other day. And then the odd time I'll throw in a whole body workout if I feel that everything needs to get more pumped and stuff. But what I'm also doing is I'm doing higher volume when I'm doing the 2-day split. So the weaker body parts, the body parts that I think that really need to come up, I'm not afraid to do 10 sets for that body part or 12 sets. And I'm doing that for chest, especially upper chest. And I'm doing that for, in some cases my legs, although I find that my legs don't need to come up as much as my upper chest does. And I'm doing that for my triceps and arms. Sometimes I'm doing a little bit more sets. So my back, I'm staying around 5 to 6 sets for a workout, maybe 7 sets tops. But with my upper chest, I'm actually using some of those workouts as higher volume for my weaker body parts. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. And I'm training about 5 or 6 days a week. And usually dragging my camera around the gym and annoying the shit out of all the members. I had a guy almost drop his plate on my camera the other day, and I'm like, what are you doing? What do you do? I was here first, man. I was here first. Hey, Ask Why, how are you, buddy? Yeah, it's good to see you guys. Anton Pippin, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. I don't know if the H is silent or if it's PH as an F sound or what, but yeah, sorry, I'm trying to get it right. But anyway, what are my thoughts on Arginine? Arginine, it used to come in the form of NO2. There was something else, I think it was Arginine L-ketoglutarate or something. I have to look it up. I can't remember the name. I can't remember it. But anyway, it's a form of Arginine, and it was a really effective supplement. NO2, a really effective supplement. Like the pumps you would get, and it felt like your muscles were just indestructible. So some Arginine supplements are pretty awesome. But I don't think that a lot of the Arginine that's going around right now is really the same structure, so it's quite a bit different. So I haven't actually taken any supplements like NO2 or anything for a long time, but I did find NO2 was one of the most effective supplements I'd ever taken. So if you find the right form of Arginine, it's actually a really effective form. Yeah, I think it's a pretty good form of a supplement. You'll notice that you just get wicked pumps from it, really, really good pumps, and you feel like you have more endurance, right? So you can push the muscle harder. Drew Garton, the BNC programs, they utilize the pump and stretch program. Okay, so you're asking, you have the A program and you're saying you're going to get the BNC, but do the BNC programs utilize the pump and stretch principle? Now, they do sometimes by accident, but more than anything, I'm integrating some of these different things, but really what the BNC programs are higher frequency, higher volume, different rep ranges, different weight, and I am applying some of those principles in the different programs. So don't worry, it's not like you're missing out. There's a million different techniques out there, and I will be applying them in different programs. Right now, I just wrote up the full body workout, 3-day-a-week workout, and I just put up the B program on my website, and that does have the pump and stretch principle technique in there, and then some giant set type techniques and so forth, right? But the thing is that I designed the BNC programs to get somebody acclimated to higher frequency as well as start to lift the heavier rep ranges, because you don't want to start with higher frequency and then go into high weight right away. You want to work your way into this, and then as your body adjusts to doing more frequent type training and it can actually heal from it, then you can up the intensity through weights here and there, and then mess around with those rep ranges. And I'm pretty careful with the exercises that I prescribe as well. Like, you won't see me do Romanian deadlifts the day before squats that often, or 2 days before, because I know if the hamstrings are too tight, sometimes squats are a risk for pulling the lower back out. So I've designed the programs pretty sensitively that way. But in the D program, I will be putting in some of these other things. So but the main thing with the 2-day split is that I'm trying to work somebody into the ability to do a higher frequency type of training and to see how they respond to that stimulus, right? Yeah. Hey, Joseph, nice to see you. Yeah, sorry I had to come on so late today. I explained earlier in a video if you watch why, but yeah, take care, buddy. Okay, let me just see the other thing here. Okay, so Shailene Sharma is asking, what is the correct technique for doing T-bar rows? Should you pinch the shoulders back? You always pull the shoulders back, but what you have to do is also keep the shoulders down. See, a lot of people make the mistake, they pinch the shoulders up, and then they row, and then it's all delt, okay? So you want to keep the shoulders down and chest out. It's not about pinching the shoulder blades as much as it is chest out, and just pull back as far as you can without actually having to rotate the arm or bend the elbow too much, okay? It's like the elbow is just almost like a hanger, like the weight's hanging off the hand. So you're not actually adding a lot of tension to the bicep. The tension mostly that you feel in the bicep and the forearms is passive. It's just enough to hold on to the weight. But really what you're doing is pulling the elbows back to the waist, pulling the elbows back to the waist and pulling the shoulder blades back. That's it. But you don't have to necessarily pinch the back. It's more about just sticking the shoulders, or sticking the chest out, sorry, and bring the shoulders back, right? I hope that helps you. I know sometimes it's hard to describe, but I'm hoping I'm getting the point across there. Yeah. Ask why. Yes, I am going to be doing 3-day splits. I'm going to have a 3-day split up next week. I'm in a bit. See, the thing is I know. Basically, I'm trying to make a video almost every day, and the problem is every video I make takes me about 2, 3, 4 hours sometimes, depending on the editing and depending on rendering, all this kind of stuff. So after I'm done my own workouts, my own training, my own other work and things that I'm doing, and then I edit that video, sometimes now I still got to write up a program. So I'm trying to make the video uploads more the priority than constant pumping out different programs and stuff, but I will have a program up next week of a 3-day split. I am going to do that. That is going to happen. I just finished the 3-day-a-week whole body B program, so now I'm going to work on this. This is my next project. So I will have that up next week. So sorry, Ask Why, that you had to wait so long for it, but I'm going to put it up next week. So I will be integrating all these different techniques in the 3-day split program. I will have A program, B program, C program, and I will be messing around with sometimes working more with hypertrophy, sometimes more with strength, so that way people can work back and forth on the programs. So if you're doing a 2-day split for a while and you're saying, okay, I've done this, but it feels like now I'm kind of burned out a little bit, or maybe I'm a little bit overtrained because the frequency's too much, then you can back off and go to the 3-day split for a bit. And it's almost like a little bit of a break from that frequency, but you may be getting a little bit more volume. But that might be the adjustment you need in order to make gains, right? Because I went back and forth from higher frequency to lower frequency, back and forth, and sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes you just hit a wall with one parameter of your training, and then it's time to back off. Just like when you go heavyweight, like say you're doing 5x5 or you're doing some sort of pyramid type training, and you're lifting super heavy, well, some of that is really great, but continually just lifting heavy for the sake of lifting heavy might actually cause you to overtrain or get injured if you do it too much, right? So it's good to adjust these things and to back off on maybe on weight and then start to do more reps and more volume that way, So it's back and forth. So it's kind of like playing a symphony. And so you're playing, one day it's the violins, next day it's the cellos, right? So cool, Ask Why. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks for being patient, buddy. Yeah. Master of the, okay, man, I won't even say your name. Anyway, you're saying you had a motorcycle accident a few months ago, and now your knee clicks when you extend. There's no pain, but would it be fine? Yeah, it'll be fine. Even if your knee clicks, it's kind of normal for knees to click. My knee's been clicking for years. Sometimes you may have certain things that happen, accidents and stuff. I've had karate injuries and hockey injuries, these different things, and sometimes it can cause some problems. Sometimes the knee can be slightly out of joint, and sometimes there can be some muscular imbalances in there that can be corrected. Massage therapy is really helpful. Sometimes if you have something, it's called the popliteus muscle right behind the calf, and it actually, okay, I'll do this with my foot, 1 second here. Okay, popliteus muscle, when your knee's bent, it does this with your foot. You see, it does that. So it does that, and if that popliteus muscle is jammed or knotted up, what will happen is your femur can't rotate properly when you're going down in a squat position, and sometimes it will cause a clicking or a bit of a grinding. So it is good to have the muscles functioning, because the muscles are protecting the joints and making sure that they're moving in the most efficient way without grinding on each other. But if you're not experiencing pain, pain is usually the first sign that something bad is going on. It's not necessarily the clicking, but the clicking, it's a good thing to take a look at anyway. My brother, this is kind of a funny but cruel event, but anyway, my brother and I, one time we were dancing back when we were like 18 years old, and we were at this teen dance, we were like, thinking we were cool, we were dancing away, doing all the, old school type dancing in the late 80s, early 90s and stuff. And anyway, he went down to the splits, and then he tweaked his knee pretty bad, right? And it was extremely painful because it just went down wrong, and I think he partially tore his MCL or something. But ever since that day, no matter what, his knee like clicks like crazy. I mean, he can't even walk up the stairs without being like creak. You think like a rocking chair is following you if he's walking up the stairs behind you. So yeah, it does happen. I mean, doing some prolotherapy on joints that click a lot, if they get inflamed, they start getting some pain and stuff, you might want to look at getting some prolotherapy, going to a naturopath, or doing some platelet regeneration therapy like Kevin Lavroni was doing. Those types of things can also help regenerate that area if you are getting some cartilage wear down, right? So that's something to look at. My brother does some prolotherapy, and he's local, but I know most of you guys are all over the world, so it's kind of hard for me to get him to fly to your house. But if you want to fly him in, I'm sure he'll come to see you. He's always more than willing to put people into pain for some reason. Okay. Yeah, Shailene, ask why is right about that. You're asking, doing dumbbell flies, is it bad if the weights clap on top of position? So if you hit them together, and ask why is saying if you do that, you lose tension on your chest, and he's right. See, the thing is, gravity goes up and down, right? Right. Say I'm laying on my back right now. Gravity's going this way. It's not going this way. The tension's not going that way. So once your arms are above your shoulders, coming from here to here, there's no extra squeeze or there's no extra tension. If anything, it takes the tension off the chest. So you want to actually keep that tension on there the whole time, and that will allow the muscle to hit failure faster. And when the muscle hits failure faster, you do have a tendency to have a higher intensity level, and that basically causes more of a muscular adaptation. Okay? So yeah, don't clap them together. Another reason is, sometimes there's little chips of paint and stuff that fall off the dumbbell, and you're in a position for them to go right in your eye, and it's actually not very pleasant. I've had it happen before, because somebody was clapping the dumbbells, and there was some paint and stuff that was falling off the dumbbell, and I went to go do some shoulder pulls and went right in my eye. So it can be actually quite dangerous if you get a metal filing or something go in your eye. So yeah, don't clap them together. Okay, let me just go up here and. Okay, so good old Junior. Hey Jason, how many sets should you do per muscle group for a week? It'll depend on how advanced you are. It'll depend on how many years you've been training really, and it'll depend on what works and your genetics. Okay, so somebody else that doesn't have a lot of muscle mass naturally might fatigue less from a lot of sets. I know that sounds kind of contraindicative or whatever. What do you want to say it? Contradictory. But the thing is, sometimes people that are very weak have a lot of endurance. And some people, when they gain in strength, you'll notice that as you go along and you become more advanced in training, you might find that things change for you and how you train. So for instance, say 20 sets was the perfect thing for you to train a body part per week, but then once you notice that you're pushing 400 pounds on the bench instead of 150, now all of a sudden 20 sets is just way too much. You're overtraining because your overall system has to deal with a lot more stress and a lot more breakdown and a lot more muscle tissue damage, okay, because you're lifting so much more weight. So sometimes you'll notice that the volume that you need will change as you go along, which is why it's impossible for me to tell you how much is the exact amount. You know, the exact amount is what is enough. What's enough to kick the crap out of your muscles so that it's totally fatigued. Excuse me. So basically, one way to look at this is that when you're doing sets, and say you're doing sets of 12 reps, like 12 reps is failure, and then all of a sudden the next set you're only getting 11 reps or 10 reps or whatever it is, and then you're getting 9 reps. Then there'll be a set where it just drops off, where your original 12 reps that you're getting now just drops down to 5 or 6 or 7. You definitely know you've done enough sets then. At that point, it's probably time to say, okay, you've done enough stimulus, you've worn the muscle out, where you were only at 50% the endurance you were when you started. And I think that would be enough to cause some sort of adaptation. Does it mean you have to stop there? Not necessarily, but it is probably a good indicator of the type of intensity of a workout that you've had, right? So that's usually what I do. Now, if you want an exact way that I do it, you buy one of the programs on my website and you'll see, you can actually add up how many sets per week based on the program, which is kind of standard. So if you're training the muscle group once a month, once a week. Sorry, a car just pulled up. I get distracted with these live things because all of a sudden, look a bird. But if you're training a body part once a week, you'll find that probably anywhere from 15 sets to 20 sets is probably more than sufficient, right? But I find that frequency is too low for me. I found if I only trained a body part once a week, I just could never gain. It was almost like I was out of shape by the time I came to the muscle group again. So, but that's me. You might be different, right? Yeah. Mate, feed, kill, repeat. Okay, so you're asking me for advice on vitamin supplements, and you take fish oil, vitamin D3, magnesium, potassium, and a multivitamin. You know, that sounds good. I mean, honestly, I'm not a vitamin expert by any means. My brother is the guy to talk to about that. He's the naturopathic doctor. A lot of times he's always complained because he's had a hard time even getting me to take a multivitamin a lot of times because I just, whatever. You know, so, but usually vitamin C is extremely important for connective tissue. That's one thing that I do make sure I have enough of because vitamin C sometimes is low and it's underestimated. So I do take vitamin C every day, you know, at least 1 or 2, 2,000 milligrams, because it does help with your body's mending ability of ligaments, tendons, and all that kind of stuff. So I definitely make sure vitamin C is in there. But vitamin D and a multivitamin is good. I'd recommend a good multivitamin. And one multivitamin I used to take a long time ago was the USANA stuff, and it was a network marketing company. So a lot of times people, you know, they're like, hey, get away from me with that network marketing thing. But that was actually a good vitamin. I noticed that I felt different. My blood flow was really good taking that type of multivitamin. They had some really good coenzyme Q10s in there and some great seed extracts. And I found that was a really good supplement. So I may end up doing that again. I may end up distributing it, I guess, because it is a good supplement line, and I really did like it when I was taking it. Yes, reverse grip bench press is all front delt for me there, Drew Garden. But I am doing a form of a reverse grip on the incline, which is more like a neutral kind of in here. And then I change more to reverse as I come up. And that's been really helping. So now my chest is like a monster. I'm like a monster. Can't you tell? Huh? No? Okay, so what's the best rep range for strength and hypertrophy days on compound movements? So, the thing is, they're two different things. They are totally related. Strength and hypertrophy are related, but at the same time, it depends on how much of a specialist you want to go in one or the other. But I'd say standard is usually around 8 to 12 reps. If you're kind of going for both, I'd say 8 to 12 reps is probably the strength and the hypertrophy side of things, right? So that would probably be good. And also a rep range is also going to depend on how extreme your range of motion is. And I've talked about this with some people, like, so to say, Jason, your range of motion is a little bit shorter because of the way I'm built and whatever, and I don't do, you know, parallel or lower squats. I do more 90 degree at the knee type squats and stuff because the way it seems, it's just the right torque curve for me, okay? So I may be doing higher rep ranges because I'm not doing quite as much the range of motion. So you may find if you're doing a really full range type motion, if that's what works more for your body, then the rep range might be lower than 8 to 12. It might be more 5 to 8 or something like that, right? So it depends on what type of lifter you are, right? I can see that I've gotten out of the personal training business for a long time, but it might end up starting again because the problem is I can't answer a lot of these questions exactly for each person unless I'm actually with them in the gym and watching, okay, this is what you're doing and this is what I need to do in order to adjust what you're doing based on your own genetics, right? Well, thanks, Alex. Yeah, I'm glad that you're enjoying the A program. Yeah, just make sure you send me a testimonial once you get bigger, and you're not allowed to get bigger than I am or leaner. You're probably already better looking, but you're not allowed to get any better than I am. So just so you know, just quit the program. If you start noticing you get too much strength and stuff, just quit. Just quit. I'm just kidding around, guys. So it's just my stupid sense of humor. Somebody said they could do without the comedy routine on my videos, but I'm like, you know, if I can't joke around or be an idiot on here, then what's the point, eh? CD Moon on Moonfire. Hey Jay, in your opinion, should one avoid squats with a slight scoliosis? I think a lot of people have a slight scoliosis. At least that's what my brother told me. He's more the expert in that area. I actually used to train with a guy years ago. He was my training partner, and he was big as hell. This guy was massive. He was 6'3", 220, but ripped. Like, he looked unbelievable, and he had a scoliosis. You could totally see when he was squatting, and he seemed to be fine. But I would say that if you're going to be going to 5 reps or 4 reps or 6 reps, like really heavy sets, I'd probably be staying away from squats and stuff. I would be going more to some other movement that might protect the lower back a bit, because yeah, if your back is out of alignment, it will be a little bit more vulnerable, I think, to injury. But again, you'll have to consult a professional, you know, like a naturopath or a chiropractor on this, or your doctor, in order to really get the Cole's notes on this. But you know, most of the time a scoliosis is not necessarily fixable. But if you want to know, like a Sanskrit mantra to help straighten that out, it goes Vakrotundaya Hum, and it's supposed to help straighten out the spine. So that's a fun fact there that is totally random on this channel right now. There you go. Vakrotundaya Hum. Yeah. Common sense. You're hilarious. Jason, strange question, but as a beard enthusiast myself, I'm wondering if you'll ever grace us with a glorious beard to go along with physique. If not, what about an early porn stash? That's pretty funny. There's another dude that I can't remember his name because I can't see in front of me, but he's always bugging me. He's always saying, beard, beard, beard. Where's the beard? Where's the beard? I grew a beard for a little bit. I might grow one again. You never know what'll happen, but I don't know, it was so itchy and it was driving my wife nuts. Like whenever I kissed her or gave her a hug or whatever, it was just scratching up her face. So she was like, man, just get rid of that thing. It's like an SOS pad. So I've got like, I'm like made of iron. It's like, everything in my body's made of iron. And it's like in my hair and everything, it's just like, it gets dangerous. I could kill people with my beard. It's like, honestly, the sparks would come off the dumbbells. If I started rubbing myself like a cat on the dumbbell, I think there would be sparks. So that's why you don't see a beard. It just drives my wife nuts. So, but yeah, maybe I'll do it just for fun. If I compete, you never know. Maybe I'll do it then. I have to bring out the full Thor for that, right? Yeah. Okay, let me just work up here, guys. I don't want to ignore your stuff. Thanks, CD Moonfire. Yeah, thanks, man, for purchasing that. You know, you guys, when you purchase the programs from my website, it does help support me making these videos and stuff, and I really appreciate it, because I know some of you guys are probably just buying it, not even doing the program, maybe. I don't know, but I do appreciate you just supporting the channel in whatever way, and if I can help you guys out, and, you know, it really helps. It's great. Thanks. Derek P's asking if I'll adjust my training much when I switch to Murph gym as opposed to my current one. No, probably not. I mean, I think there'll be different equipment there. There might be some different equipment. The atmosphere will be different, so it'll be probably, my videos have mellowed out a little bit, because Champion, the place that I'm training right now, a lot of the people have left because a couple of them were friends of mine. They know that I'm leaving pretty quick because I'm moving in the next 3 weeks here. And when I move, then usually we'd have our nighttime party where we joke around and stuff. I have my camera going and whatever. But some of them moved to different gyms and stuff because they moved or whatever. They're living in a different location too. And yeah, so when I go to Murph's gym, I'm sure I'll have to behave for a little while until people get to know me, and then they're not they're saying who that idiot is with the camera. Because the thing is, people see the YouTube videos, they see, oh yeah, it just seems such a good time, but they don't see like some of the people that are, who is that guy with the camera? What kind of nut comes in the camera, in the gym with a camera, right? So yeah, it's kind of funny, right? When you see the made, I will do this at some point, you know, the making of Natural Gallant bodybuilding videos, and you'll kind of see behind the scenes a little bit and see, yeah, it's not always received quite as quite as well as you think, but most of the time, most of the members are pretty funny about it. They actually enjoy it. So yeah, so Murph's gym, there's gonna be different people. There's a really good bunch of people in that gym. I met them at the Christmas party last year, and some of you saw that on a video. If you look back on the Christmas party there, I did some Christmas footage, but yeah, Kyle's a really great guy. His wife is a really great person too, and yeah, they have a dog that wanders around the gym all the time, so he's a pretty cool guy. And I think his name's Draper. And so, yeah, it'll be a neat place, neat atmosphere. So I think my training will stay the same. If not, it might even intensify even more because Kyle's getting ready for some bodybuilding shows too. So him and I might actually spark each other a little bit. So the thing is that, yeah, Kyle's a good guy. So I think I'll have a lot of fun. There's a lot of other competitive lifters in that gym too. Some really good bodybuilders. There's a few older guys there that were bodybuilders back in the day and competed, and they look great. And so, yeah, no, I think it'll be a real fun atmosphere to train in. I'm looking forward to it, really. Yeah. I don't know if Kyle's looking forward to me coming, but I'm looking forward to being there. Shailene Sharma, you heard that the body should almost be parallel to the ground while doing bent over rows. And I would say that's absolute bullshit. I know you've heard that, and I've seen people say that, but it's absolute total bullshit. Because when you go down too low, what'll happen is your lower back becomes more the thing that's hitting failure rather than actually your lats, right? And as you come up, now the lower back plays less of a role, okay? The lower back does not hit failure as fast. And now the lats can really be pushed hard, okay? So you can really start pushing the lats hard and pushing the back hard by pulling. But sometimes when people go down too low, also you start pulling more to the chest here, which is working more the upper back, but not necessarily the lats. The lats is more about pulling to the waist. Now when you pull the bar to the waist, coming up like this makes it easier to do that, but at the same time it's more of a natural range of motion. So I think that is a big fallacy that you do not have to follow. Now if you want to do a different range of motion and stuff with rows, you can rely on machines to do that sort of thing, but I think that's an inappropriate use of resources. Let's put it that way. Okay, this might be another video I do. Okay, using your resources inappropriately. We know that your lower back has a certain amount of strength. We know that your lower back has a certain amount of ability to hold yourself in an isometric position with a certain amount of weight. But if your goal is to work the lats and to build the biggest upper back possible, you don't want your lower back hitting failure long before the upper back does, right? So you can, yeah, Murphy's Gym is in Chilliwack, yes. Yeah, good old Junior there, yep. So, yeah, and it's a limited membership, good old Junior, just so you know. Murphy's Gym's not necessarily an open gym where everybody can kind of train, so you better get in there because I think he's got limited amount of memberships. He just got a new location, so you got to get in there soon because I think he's only taking 200 people altogether, and I think he's almost filled up, so just so you know. But anyway, yeah, so you want to make sure that you're not going down too low because you don't want... See, I find that the difference with a lot of people out there, and sorry, I'm looking blue right now, it's just a gray coloring in the rain outside, you're hearing the rain outside. But a lot of times what people are trying to do is change bodybuilding into flexibility training. And a person can be really flexible. Like I could do the splits on the chairs my whole life, but it didn't mean that my legs were big, right? So there's a difference between flexibility and muscular size and strength. And sometimes if you're over flexible, you're actually just pulling on the joints and you're basically wasting the resource in there and you're putting unnecessary stress where it's not necessary and you're under stressing then this upper back area. So say if you have to bend over here, now obviously you're probably gonna have to use a little bit less weight, right? Now less weight means different muscles will get hit harder and some will get hit less. Okay, so if you're going to do both variations, that's fine. I agree with that. But the have to, I don't agree with. The have to bend over parallel. That's not true at all, actually. And I never did do it. Never did do that. And I think we can all agree that my back is probably my best body part. Okay, so if you want my honest advice on this, my back is my best body part. I never ever bent parallel to the floor. I found, if anything, that caused me to train more shoulders, actually. Yeah, good old Junior. I'd still get in there as early as possible. I wouldn't wait till the end of the month because I'm telling you, these guys are, I think they're going to fill up real quick. So if you wait too late, if you wait till the end of the month, you might not get in there, just so you know. So I'm giving you a heads up now. But yeah, it'd be great to see you there, man. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, let me just scroll up here so I'm not ignoring you guys because you guys have been awesome today. So. Shailene Sharma, you actually see me do the bent over dumbbell row and bent over barbell row in all my videos. So look back on my workout vlogs. Look back on all my workout vlogs, you'll see what I'm doing. I'm actually show you right there. You can actually see how far I'm bent over. I'm bent over about like this. But my back is arched, of course, and then I'm pulling right to the waist of that barbell. But watch, like really, honestly, I'm begging you here. Just watch my vlogs. For God's sake, just watch them. Just go through them. You're going to learn so much just by watching me do this. It's really hard for me to explain in words, right? Elliot Scott Dating. Hey, how's it going, buddy? I checked out your channel too. Hey, and just so you know, Elliot Scott Dating, I make music, okay? And I know you got some subscribers and stuff, so if you're ever interested in using some of my music, you let me know, and we'll work something out, okay? So, thanks a lot, and you're a hell of a nice guy. I've seen some of your comments. You've actually made some really nice comments, so... anyway, Two questions. You're 30, never worked out. How much could you gain at 30? And I'm saying to you that you can gain a lot at 30, actually. 30 is a freaking ideal age, honestly. 30 is great. 30 is wicked. As long as you're not indulging in bad habits like drugs and alcohol and stuff, and you're willing to eat according to your goal, you can make some awesome gains. Awesome gains, right? Yeah, show you those dance moves. You know, I can't put my music on this because I'm using my iPhone to record this, so I can't put my music on, so there's no beat to dance to, right? But yeah, it's like pop and lock, right? See, right? And then roll the shoulder. See, there you go. See, there you go. There's the moves. So yeah, we'll have to work on some, Elliot. So the problem is that whenever I try to reach out to other YouTubers to actually work with them or to help them out, the funny thing is that they think that I'm just one of those scam sites. Hey, free music for you or some shit. So I never actually get a conversation going. So anyway, yeah, no, it'd be great. So just reach out to me, send me an email, naturalgallant@hotmail.com, and we'll be in touch, and I'll work with you that way, right? So I mean, you could purchase some music on my site or whatever, but we'll work something out. We'll see what we can do for you here. Thanks, Rook234. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, I love all the positivity here. You guys are great. Okay, so Building Muscle says you had an injury on the neck through shrugs, off for a few months. Do you start again or carry off from where you left off? Okay, from where I left off. Do you start again? You actually start again. Okay, this is the thing. I did a video on this after a flu, like say after a flu, how you should start. It's the same thing with an injury. Here's how I start back, okay? And I talked about this in my vlogs and stuff. Sorry if I'm shivering, it's getting cold out here. Usually when I start off, like say I take a week off or 2 weeks off or something like that, say an injury or the flu or whatever, or vacation or whatever might be happening, I usually work back into my workouts with a full body workout, lightweight. Like say I'll go and do some squats, I'll just do a couple plates or a plate aside. When usually I do 315 or 365 or 4 plates, I'll just do a plate or 2 plates and just work my body into it. And just something hold at the bottom, just get used to that stretch and start pumping some blood in there, right? Then I'll do the same in the bench press. I'll just do a plate or a plate and a half or 2 plates when usually I do 275 or 3 plates. Like I'm using about 60% of the weight I usually use just to get the blood flowing again. And there's nothing wrong with that. And you'll find that your strength comes back just as fast, except for now you're not injuring yourself and you're not pulling things and having unexpected problems, right? So usually I do a couple workouts like that. Like a couple weeks ago, like we were dealing with that whole stressful move sort of situation, showing our house every day, and I had to miss a couple workouts and this and that. And my eating was a little bit off because we didn't have a kitchen available. So what I did was I did 2 days of 2 full body workouts, two days of full body workouts. And then by the 3rd day, it was like I hadn't missed a beat. My body felt great. It felt like I was pumped and I felt like I was ready to go. And then I went back to my 2-day split program and I was right back in action. So yeah, I'd recommend doing some full body workouts. Just get the blood going. Do the warm up workouts. A lot of people don't do the warm up workouts. They just get right back into it, thinking that they're losing if they don't. So no, I'm moving to Harrison Hot Springs there, good old Junior. Just so you know, right by the beach, man, because that's where the bodybuilders go. Hey, right by the beach. So yeah, so a lot of people underestimate that doing warm-up workouts, like entire workouts that are really a warm-up for your other workouts, they're so effective. It's such a great athletic technique, right? Balkanis Partisan. I don't know why people are obsessed with how tall I am. I understand it's a legitimate question, so I'm not insulting you. So thanks for asking anything you're asking. But I noticed that a lot of people, French Bastard, Chilliwack, BC, Canada. I'm in Maple Ridge, BC, Canada. Just so you know, French Bastard, and I'm moving to Harrison Hot Springs, BC. So yeah. So Balkanis Partisan. Hi there. How tall am I? I'm 5'8". I'm about 200 pounds. So just so you know. Yeah, no, well, building muscle, that's right. You haven't lost muscle, but you don't want to do any more damage because your neck injury, okay? So yeah, 100%. First and foremost, going back and lifting lighter is going to give you a chance to assess whether that neck is still bad or not, okay? That's the first thing. You want to basically find out, okay, is my neck feeling like crap or not? And if it's been taken care of, say you've seen a doctor, massage therapist, whatever it is you got to do, but then you're going through your motions and you're noticing, okay, it's okay, then you're easing yourself into the process. But if you don't ease yourself into the process, you won't be able to read whether things are going right or not. And then sometimes that's when things can get really bad, where all of a sudden it's like tank, and then something goes out, or you herniate a disc or something. So you want to start slow, tread carefully, and feel your way through the process. And if you're not getting sharp pains or real bad twinges or anything, and everything feels right, then you can slowly up your ability to push, right? Robo Warrior, there he is. Okay, I'll get back to your questions, guys. I'm just gonna roll down here. Yeah, no problem, building muscle. Yeah, glad I could help, buddy. Yeah. Kevin Crossfield, I'm 43. So I noticed you never sent me a birthday present either, so you know, you do know if you're asking my age, you have to send me a birthday present. It's in November, just so you know. Start saving now. I'm going to set up a P.O. box for you. Okay, let me scrolling up here. Scrolling up. Okay, Balkanaz Partisan. Yeah, I'm 230 and look nothing like you. I thought you'd be like 250. Well, it's about how lean you are, right? See ya. It's about how lean you are. If you're not lean at 230, like a lot of people can be bulked up, and I'm not insulting you by any means, so don't take it this way, but a weight doesn't really mean a lot. That's why a lot of times when people ask me things, I don't necessarily answer because they don't understand that it's about the composition. That's the most important thing. So if, like I've seen guys at 4% body fat at 180 pounds that just look like absolute insane, you know, and some of the Mr. Olympia competitors were on stage at 220, like Flex Wheeler, but he was so shredded and lean and so dehydrated that he had a massive amount of muscle mass, but there was really no body fat on there, right? So yeah, so that's why weight itself can be very deceiving. So yeah, some people think I'm a lot heavier than I am. But 200 pounds is respectable, man. It's respectable for a mouse. Hey, I'm pretty big for a mouse. Okay. CD Moon on Fire. Okay, you've heard different opinions with shoulder press. Should your elbows be to your sides or slightly forward? Okay, so the thing is with the elbows is that I find when I go forward, yeah, you get a lot of front delt. But the thing is, it's more about where is the most comfortable way to lift, where you're not feeling anything in the joint. And sometimes I found lifting like this, it was almost like too much stress was just on here, but I like as a compound movement to be able to spread that stress out amongst the tricep and the front delt. You'll have to find your sweet spot in that. I don't think there's really an exact answer. But the thing is with front delts, I never worried about really focusing just purely on front delt. Like I see a lot of guys doing these front raises and stuff. That would kill my shoulder, first of all, because of the slap tear in this right shoulder, right? Which is why when I, shoulder do side right raises, you'll see one arm doesn't come up as high as the other. It's because of slap tear from hockey. But the bottom line is I never really found the need to go super crazy on front delt work because I was getting so much front delt work on bench presses and on the chest exercises, right? So yeah, I'd say do what's comfortable, do what feels like you're hitting the most amount of muscles at once. That's what you should do. But if you go too far forward like this, if you too much, I find that sometimes you will overstretch the bicep tendon and the front delt. So if you start noticing that your shoulders are flaring up, then move it out a little bit and see if that's better for you, right? Okay. Okay, let me just do this. Okay, so RoboWare is saying, so I squatted yesterday with a broken toe. Now, though, my foot feels better than ever. Thoughts on mindful training through an injury? I find it enhances your recovery. You know, I think a lot of advanced lifters have noticed this, where sometimes taking absolute rest is not necessarily more effective in a lot of cases. Sometimes it can be. It depends on the injury, you know? Like if you just had surgery or something like that, then, obviously you want to be laying on your back for a bit. But the thing is with some injuries, it seems like blood flow is king. So if you can get blood flow there, and even if you're doing an easier workout or a really mellow workout, but at least you're getting some blood flow, that really seems to help with recovery and helping move the blood through and get out the inflammation. You know what I'm saying? Like the inflammation is good, but you don't want stuck or stagnant inflammation. That's the thing. So some people, they get stagnant inflammation. That's why there's such a thing as anti-inflammatories, which basically destroy your body. But at the same time, in some cases, anti-inflammatories could be useful or necessary, right? If there's stagnant inflammation. So getting that blood flow going can really definitely help, right? Like you guys notice, if you guys look back at my videos, if you look back at my videos like 4 months ago or something like that, I had a thumb, like I just smashed this thumb, right? This thumb, it's like, you can't even tell. Like it's, the nail's totally recovered. And I think it's, yeah, active recovery, right? Anti-inflammatories, Sean, pelvic, are extremely harmful, yes. They're bad on your stomach and your digestive system, and they will cause all sorts of digestive problems, and they can cause other problems as well. So, yeah. So I'm not going to get into the whole naturopath thing, but it's true. The thing is that I'll give you my story on my experience, right? So it just doesn't look like a random slander thing. When I was around 19 years old, I herniated a disc in my lower back, and of course I thought doctors knew something back at that age, and I went to the doctor. And he said, well, okay, we'll send you to the sports med guy because he'll know what to do. So I went to this guy, sports med, and he was a university sports med guy, specialist in his field. And I said, listen, I got a lower back thing going on here. What's going on? So, of course, he did the CT scan, and you can see there's lots of inflammation in the area. No MRI, of course, because they're going to wait for later to do that, because that would just be too fucking effective to understand what's going on in the body. So they just did the CT scan, which doesn't show the soft tissue damage. Not really, anyway. So anyway, by looking at that, he says, oh, you got some inflammation in there, and you have some arthritis in there. I think that we're going to have to basically put you on anti-inflammatories, and then you're going to have to wear a back brace the rest of your life if you want to lift weights. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, what? Really? So he's the doctor, but I knew damn well I was never going to wear a back brace. So I was like, okay, that's stupid. That doesn't make sense. So I went home. I took the anti-inflammatories thinking this was going to help. Well, then all of a sudden, when I was eating normal foods again, I was getting heartburn. And it felt like, my God, I'm not digesting my food very well. I feel like shit all the time. I always got heartburn. I never had heartburn my whole life. All of a sudden, now I'm getting heartburn. So I stopped the anti-inflammatories after about 4 or 5 days. My back felt a little bit better. But there I was with my same back injuries before, and I was definitely not going to get a back brace. So I started doing rehabilitation work on my back, and in no time I was squatting 5 plates. So the thing is that, drugs are usually a frickin' problem. I mean, sometimes drugs are necessary. Sometimes a vaccination or something could be necessary in a certain circumstance because you're going to die if you don't do it, or an antibiotic or something like that. But you really don't want to do it unless there's a real danger, right? And anti-inflammatories, I find, are overused. A lot of people use them because they think they're doing some sort of healing, but really what they're doing is killing healing. They actually kill the healing, because inflammation is what brings blood to an area, and when there's blood in an area, that's when there's going to be some healing. And yeah, there's some pain, and most people are so scared of pain, they don't want to feel pain. They're like, oh my God, I feel pain. Get rid of it, right? Well, the pain is showing you that something's going on in there. There's some healing going on, Otherwise, everybody should just walk around on heroin or crack and then see what happens to your body, right? How it disintegrates as you totally disconnect from the feelings in your body and do a squat workout. So, So anyway, yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. So yeah, watch that kind of stuff. Sometimes it's necessary, but you know that you're making a choice because it can be dangerous. So I would definitely have a healthy amount of respect if you're going to take any anti-inflammatory for any reason. Don't use it as a chronic lifestyle, that's for sure, right? Balkanist partisan, I don't do intermittent fasting, so yeah, everybody's talking about this. There's always a new trend. 1 minute it's this, 1 minute it's that, and yeah, I don't do intermittent fasting, not on purpose anyway. But one thing I notice though is that when I don't eat for too long a period of time, and I do that too much, I actually get weaker, smaller, fatter, and less pumped. So there you go. That's what I think about intermittent fasting. But I never did it like officially. Okay, so yeah. Anton Sterlich, if you're heavier with yeah, okay, I don't know what you're saying. I think maybe you're, okay, maybe the English is off. Okay, so if you're heavier when you have muscle gives you the appearance of more heaviness, and you are heavier. You're actually heavier with pure muscle, but also when a person's leaner with muscle mass, they will have the appearance of being much larger because they're more shapely. So sometimes people overestimate their body weight because the shapeliness of the muscles looks so much bigger because there is a lot of muscle there, right? So anyway, I think that might answer your question. Sometimes people that are fatter will look less muscular even though they're way heavier because they just look like a big pillow, you know what I'm saying? But they won't look as impressive, right? Okay, thanks, Anna, sorry man, sometimes it's hard to, I understand how hard it is for you guys to actually word a question properly as well, so yeah, sometimes this medium is a little bit limited, but hey, at least now I can tune into you guys, so that's nice. Joe Recon, do I believe in the anabolic window after a workout? Yes, I do, because I do believe that you've used up all your carbohydrates and a lot of your creatine and a lot of your glycogen and everything like that. So you want to replenish that. And I think that if you don't replenish it, then your body will be a little bit more catabolic than it needs to be. The Alex Fallardu. Okay. Thoughts on plyometrics. Did I ever do that? I do that with calves. So you'll notice that my calf training that I'll jump in between calves. So I do some calf races and then I'll do little jumps and stuff. No, Anton, I know the English is not your native language, and thanks, you were telling me this, so we're practicing. You and I are practicing our communication here, so it's good. So don't worry, I'm happy you're here, so thanks for being here. Okay, Robo Warrior, you're finding that heavy behind the neck presses are rapidly increasing your bench and other pressing movements. What are some of your go-to assistance moves? Well, first of all, I'd say behind the neck press are awesome if you do them right. Like me, I used to just come to the ears, the top of the ears, and then come up. But because of the slap tear, I had to stop doing them. But I really did actually like them. But I was really respectful of them. I did not do them too heavy because I knew that you could pop a shoulder out if you have something a problem. And I know 2 or 3 guys actually that did this, where they lost their spot and the arm went back and they actually popped their shoulder out and permanent damage the rest of their life. So as long as you're advanced enough to understand how you're moving and you're not going too extreme, perfect. Yeah, thanks. No, that's really good. You're not going all the way down to the base of the neck, because that will frickin' kill your shoulder, man. So don't ever feel the need to do that. And I know you're smart and I know you already understand what I'm saying. So, but yeah, behind the neck presses, they do stretch that front delt in a different way, 100%. And I do think they're great, and I wish that I could still do them. And I may attempt it with lightweight at some point, because it does feel like my shoulder's pretty stable now, but we'll see. But I don't ever recommend this for beginners, because usually they don't have the body awareness to understand when is the right time to stop and to go up or down, right? Yeah. I don't speak French, but I did take French, and my last name is French, so kind of funny, right? All I can say is Fala de. Is that what it is? Fala de? Is that how I pronounce it, Alex? I'll wait for your comment. Fala de. Hey, I think that might be what it is. So Witcher Works, don't worry, I'll scroll up here and get your comment this way. Yeah, I love you too there, Anton. Hey, yeah, good to see you. Okay. No problem there, mate. Feed. Yeah, I'm glad to help, hey? Okay, let me just go up here to Witcher Works. Where are you, buddy? I'm trying to find you. There's a million comments here, so. Yeah, and there was, you know, I actually wish I had my laptop here. There's one guy that actually donated $20 to the channel last week after my live chat. So thanks to him. If he's on here right now, thank you very much for doing that. That would really helps. Yeah, which works. I don't see your comment. So if you did have a question, just ask it again. Okay. Hey, Marwan, Abdul Fatah. Yeah, nice to see you. How are you? Okay, so Alex, Falade. Well, yeah, we'll say it, pronounce it right now. No, just yeah, so I can't pronounce Alex's name. Okay, so Witcher Works is saying, would working out 6 days a week be beneficial if recovery is kept in check with this hurt muscle growth with the constant repetition? No, because that's the way I trained most of my life. I found six days a week was perfect for me. And if I found I was overtraining, then sometimes what I would do is just back off on the volume or intensity on one day or another. But I found being in the gym more often was actually more effective than me taking 3 or 4 days off totally. Yeah. Witcher Works, actually, the company that I use is based in the USA, out of New Mexico. So you can order a t-shirt from anywhere in the USA and it'll come right to your house. It'll actually be easier actually to get to your house than Canada. Like when I ordered my own shirts for myself, I had to actually pay duty and shit. So yeah, no, my shirts ship all over the US for sure. Yeah. Okay, HN, what kind of workout split to use for construction worker getting elbow pain from benching and pulling movements? First of all, HN, watch my video on elbow pain. Do you have elbow pain? That's what it's called, and you'll get a couple tips in there. One of them is never hang with the elbows locked straight from the chin-up bar or from a lat pull down. I see guys doing this all the time where they do this. Now, the other crime that people actually make fun of me about, and they totally piss on me on the internet about, okay, is that when I come down with the lat pull down, I only come to here. I don't feel the need to touch my chest, okay? Because what happens with some people when they touch your chest, what they do with their arm? They arm wrestle that bar down. And if you're arm wrestling the bar down, you're putting more stress on the elbow, and that will also cause elbow inflammation, okay? That's another thing. The other thing is heavy preachers. If you straighten the arms out, if you straighten the arms out too much, what'll happen is you'll jam the joint. If you're doing preacher curls and stuff, so you want to make sure you keep that arm bent, okay? That's another thing. Another thing is French curls. If you're doing skull crushers, don't bring the bar here to your mouth, okay? The mouth like this or the dumbbells like this. Bring the elbows back a little bit so that the elbows are facing more towards the ceiling, and that way the tension stays on the belly of the tricep, but not more here, okay? These are some tips. Now, as a construction worker, sorry, I got a drink here. As a construction worker, what's happening is you are probably using your forearms all day long to lifting stuff and hammering. Like I actually did some foundation work for a period of time and worked on concrete and stuff. And I was swinging a framing hammer all day and my forearms would just get so tight. So there's a possibility that you also are having some sort of tightness in your forearms and overuse injuries, okay? So get some massage therapy on that forearm, and I think it may actually help loosen up any sort of golfer's elbow or tennis elbow stuff you may have going on in that elbow, okay? So check that out. I think that'll help. So from there, making those adjustments, what split should you use? Well, if anything, you're training every day in the gym anyway. So because you're lifting plywood, you're doing certain things, and sure, most of the body parts you're working on are lower back and forearms, of course, and some of your front delts and shoulders. So basically what I would do if I were you, I would do, you know, a 3-day whole body workout or something like that and see how you feel from that. And from there, then you can start working your way into higher frequency if you find that your body can actually adapt to it. But something like that might be effective. The other thing you could do is a 3-day type split, which is I'm going to be working on next week. It'll be on my site next week. And the 3-day split, you could work on those big body parts that you don't necessarily hit on the construction site, like chest. You don't hit your lats much on the construction site. You don't hit your legs too much unless you're climbing in and out of holes doing foundation work and carrying stuff on your back like I was doing, but most people aren't doing that when they're framing and stuff, right? So a 3-day split can work really well too, and you just take extra days off when you feel you need them. Okay, so let me just scroll up here. Drew Garton, yeah, I still recommend chiropractors. It doesn't mean chiropractors are bad. I just had an idiot for a chiropractor that didn't realize, like for instance, okay, let me show you this. I can hyperextend this elbow. See, I broke this arm when I was a kid, and I landed on it when I was only 8 years old, and the arm didn't heal properly, so it could hyperextend. So he was telling me to hyperextend my arm and straighten, and then at the same time resist, and that's what tore the bicep. And I told him that this was not the right thing, but anyway, he basically insisted. So he was an idiot. But that doesn't mean all chiropractors are idiots. Some of them are very good. So active release training is actually very good. Active release stuff for loosening up that muscle and getting the adhesions all broken apart. I definitely recommend that. So yeah, definitely do that for your hamstring. Okay. Let me just roll up here. Joe Recon, do I think I'll ever consider TRT as I get older? Never. I will never do it. I totally disagree with it. I think it's retarded. I think cavemen didn't use it, so when the hell should I? And I'm more caveman than any of you probably. Just look at this cranium, huh? Come on. No, I never will consider it because for me, that's nothing more than glorified drug addiction to me. That's the way I see it. I'm not judging people that are doing it. If they want to do it, fine. But that's just not what I want. I want to be, this is the reason why I stayed natural. If I believed in using TRT training, I would have used drugs back when I was 20, right? But I don't believe in it because I just think that sometimes when your hormones are a certain way in your body, it's showing you that there are some environments inside your body that are not quite right, or maybe something needs to be, adjusted. So maybe you need to change your nutrition, maybe you need to change your eating, maybe you need to change your sleeping, your stress levels, something like that. But what I would do is look at where my body is most healthy. That's the most important thing. And I think TRT is just more, it's nothing more than a mask, or you're kind of covering up some symptoms. And maybe there's some good results from it. And I do know that some people swear by it, that they've had, they feel much better and everything. But I don't know, something about me wants to be independent. I don't want to be dependent on some sort of drug or pharmaceutical. I want to be natural. I want to say, what is the most natural way to make this thing shine and get the most results from this engine called the body, right? Yeah, Bulgarian, Alex Falade, Bulgarian light training for bodybuilding. It's kind of what I do is a little bit of Bulgarian in a way. It's almost like a Bulgarian hybrid because I train more frequently. So yeah, I would say it's good for bodybuilding. Okay, Building Muscle says, if you want to put on weight with muscle, should you still do cardio and how often? I think doing cardio helps basically blood flow, okay? But what you want to do is make sure the intensity of the cardio is not too extreme, because if it is, then your body's going to start adapting more to that than the weight training. So you want to make sure the weight training is the most intense type of training you do, rather than stretching an elastic band in two different directions, because adapting to cardio and adapting to weight training are two different things. The body doesn't get massive by doing long distance runs, you know what I'm saying? So you want to make sure that one is accentuating the other. So you decide what is your goal. So then if you're doing cardio, then you're saying, okay, I'm doing the cardio with the goal of blood flow and skimming off a little bit energy and making the energy production more efficient, right? And that means your cardio will be less intense, probably 100, 110, 120 beats a minute tops, but you wouldn't be doing the 170 beat kind of sprinting stuff constantly. That would be too intense. And I've done experiments with this when I played hockey and stuff like that, and hockey basically just totally destroyed my gains for a while. So, yeah. So anyway, building muscle saying, what about your abs? Is cardio is good? Cardio is, I would say diet is the most important to get abs, and then doing the massive lifts like the cardio, like the core lifts, like squats and deadlifts and things. You're sucking that core in, you're actually working your abs. So yeah, a lot of my programs don't have any ab training in them because I don't train abs. I barely ever train abs, and when I have trained abs, I'll do it sparingly, but I'm always careful because I don't want to wear my abs out before I do squats or something, because I don't use a belt, and I want to make sure that my back is functioning properly and my core is functioning properly and it's not overly sore when I want to lift that big weight, right? Abs, you know, abs can be genetic, I guess, as far as the shape, for sure. Yeah, I think so. And metabolism can be genetic to a point. But I've known a lot of guys that couldn't get abs unless they were, you know, morbidly obese at some point in their life. Okay, so that's different. And if there's diabetes and stuff like that, this can sometimes affect the abdominal cavity, which I know is kind of going on with you, right? And I've seen some guys that are borderline diabetic. It seems like their abdominal cavity kind of shifts somehow. So I don't know if there's some sort of hormonal influence there or something. But the fact is that abs really are a product of diet and just fat loss, really. That's mainly what they are. And you are using your abs and you're doing tricep press downs heavy and stuff like that. So that's why I really incorporate it that way. I really do stuff like that. I do a lot of movements and just trust in that whole body workout, right? Yeah, gold currency, just do a bunch of sit-ups for abs, easy. Well, yeah, the problem is though, if you do sit-ups and you overwork the psoas muscle, you may go and do a squat workout and then pull your back out. So that's the reason why sit-ups sometimes aren't necessarily the best. Oh, CD Moonfire, thanks a lot for the $10. Thanks, buddy. You're the first guy to contribute today. That's so nice of you. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to answer your question first here because I'll give you the priority here. Just pull this up. Okay, am I currently using a pre-workout? Your thoughts on them and suggestions if you don't. Okay, CD Moonfire, I'll answer this for you. So thanks for the super chat. Okay. I don't use pre-workouts, and I don't use Red Bull, and I don't use Monster drinks, and I don't use that shit because they've got a lot of chemical caffeines in there. And my wife, those of you that do know, most of you don't, but my wife is about, okay, gold currency, just so you know, I'm gonna answer you in a bit. I know you disagree with me, but it depends on the person, depends on how big you are, depends on how you're built, but psoas muscles can get overworked with sit-ups. It's a well-known fact, just so you know. So the bottom line is, pre-workouts, I don't believe in that chemical crap. That chemical caffeine is harder for the body to digest, harder for the body to do something with. And I find that I just have a cup of coffee if I want some caffeine, I guess. But I like coffee just because of the taste. I'm not really in it for caffeine. But I don't like the pre-workouts that have a lot of unnatural, like sucralose in them or aspartame or any of that kind of stuff. So if I do use a pre-workout, it's going to be sweetened with stevia first and foremost. And second of all, it's going to be something like branched chain amino acids, or it'll have glutamine, or it'll have citrulline or something like that in it. But it will not have any of those stimulant type things like caffeine and stuff, because I don't want to be stimulated too much. Because all that stimulant type stuff is more chemical enhanced. It's just a different structure, right? So I find that the body's ability to deal with it probably isn't as effective. So I don't use that, right? Okay. I hope, does it answer your question? Let me know if that answers it enough there, buddy. So thanks a lot for that super chat. I really appreciate that. Yeah. Okay, so gold currency. You do 600 sit-ups a day, worked up to it over a year. No, that's great. I mean, you could become a specialist in abs, but are you squatting 5 plates for reps? Or do you have a certain amount of ab abilities? Because I knew some guys that could do Roman chair sit-ups, overstretching the shit out of the back, and they're fine. But of course, 7 years later, developed a hernia from straining on deadlift. So sometimes these things are linked, okay? So yeah, you can do sit-ups and stuff like that, but honestly, rounding the back during squats and stuff isn't what you want to do anyway, and abs are just all focused on that rounding, and it's good for boxing and stuff, and if the tension's forward, but more than anything, what I wanted to do is become a specialist in keeping the back in a certain range or a certain position so that I could squat and deadlift. And a super rounded back is not actually the back that I wanted. So doing sit-ups like this wasn't necessarily sport-specific training for me. Well, Joe Recon, is it beneficial to starve or fast yourself during sleep? Well, I don't know how I'd eat if I was asleep, but yeah, you can give me an answer on that. I don't know how you'd be. How are you eating when you're asleep? Are you hooking up to an IV bag or something? Somebody's feeding you through the anus or something? I have no idea how you do that. Okay, yeah, thanks, CD Moonfire. Yeah, I'm glad my answer helped you. Witcher works. Have I noticed any negative effects from stevia? Just a bit of ugliness, but that's about it. But I think that was genetic. I think I just came with that. So yeah, no, I haven't noticed any negative effects of stevia. I think there's some research out there that says it's supposed to lower sperm count, and that's actually a positive thing. You know, good natural birth control if it does. Okay, let me just roll up here. Okay, you guys are talking amongst each other. That's good. You guys are all getting along. That's so nice today. Everybody's getting along. Man, what a change from the last few weeks, eh? Jeez. The last couple live casts were just a headache. Okay, so Alex Falada, you're saying 5% is really low. You plan on getting on stage or something. Who are you talking to? Are you talking to, probably talking to Chrono or somebody? Who are you talking to? Let me know who you're talking about. I want to be in that conversation. You guys are leaving me out. Chrono, IV with protein, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Actually, you know what, Chrono? You bet somewhere out there's a bodybuilder using an IV with aminos when they sleep. I think that there is actually some people doing that. I think my brother actually was looking at that because they do IVs with vitamins and vitamin C and stuff, and it's quite effective because it bypasses the gut so your body digests a lot more. So I think it would be a pretty effective thing if you could do it with a safe type of protein of some sort or aminos. It might be actually a pretty good technique. So gold currency, you're saying, can you add more sets to shoulder presses for more shoulder size? Well, I don't know. How big are your shoulders now? Are they big or are they small? What's going on with you now? Because you're telling me you knew how abs work. So are you the expert in shoulders too or what? Like I need to know where you're at. Where are you at, man? Where are you at, gold currency? You're asking me a question that seems to be... It's pretty obvious. The thing is, you can always add more sets, but I don't know where your sets are. Like, do you have 20 sets? Do you have 40 sets going on? Or do you have 5 sets going on or 1 set? You know, it's hard for me to answer that question based on the information I have. But yeah, if you're only doing 1 set, you could add more sets. If you're doing 10 sets, maybe you could add more sets. But maybe if you're doing a workout once every 2 days, maybe 10 sets would be too much. You know what I'm saying? So it just depends on your frequency. Depends on your frequency, right? So I'm going to tell you right now, your sit-up routine, that might be okay right now. But once you're doing squats in a certain weight, it might be okay, but maybe one day you need more ab strength or more ab energy left in order to do the squats, and then maybe it'll cause a problem. Maybe then you need to back off on your ab volume, and then you can actually concentrate on using that torso energy for the squats, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's always about mixing and matching. So you're doing 8 sets for 185 pounds. So how many days a week are you training your body part? How many days? And how are you feeling the next day? How are you feeling the next day on your shoulders? Are they sore? Are they tight? Are they pumped? Are you feeling like you're not getting anywhere? Are you weak when you go to do chest after? You know, so yeah, basically what I'd say is try something new and see what happens. If you're doing 8 sets and you notice that you're stagnant, like nothing's happening, you're doing 8 sets for shoulders 3 to 4 times a week on shoulder press with 185. Are you doing, you're doing a pretty frequent training program then, if you're doing that. Which I think is good. I still think that's good. But if I were you, I'd be varying up your rep ranges. I wouldn't be sticking just with one weight like that. RoboWarrior, how much volume does one need to maintain current strength levels? Yeah, that's a good question, isn't it? You know, it is really a dance with the devil sometimes because like last night I squatted 405 for the first time in 6 months. I squatted it, my squat, okay, before anybody makes fun of me, it's not ass to the floor. Of course it's not. But basically I was doing my squats and it felt really easy. It felt really easy to do the squats. I could do them up and down like nothing. It felt like I could jump through the ceiling with 4 plates on my back. But at the same time, if I don't do that once in a while, then it's almost like you lose touch with the coordination, because the one thing that a lot of people misunderstand with strength is that a lot of strength is also coordination. It isn't necessarily just the ability for the muscle to fire. It's about the order that the muscles fire in, right? And when I'm doing squats, also because of the counterbalancing, say I have 400 pounds here as opposed to 300. If I have 400 pounds here, I'm now a little bit more straight up and down because I don't need to counterbalance as much to stay in a squat position without falling over, right? But when I have 300 pounds there, then I might have to bend over a little bit more to compensate. So it changes the movement. So these subtle changes sometimes will change how your coordination stays and how your strength stays, and this plays a role. So how much volume is necessary? I would say you need to be able to train a body part, and I'm going to go on frequency because that is a measure of volume, how frequent you train the body part. But I would say in order to maintain levels, I'd say you need to train a body part twice a week. That's the way it is for me anyway. At least. If I train less than that, I start to go back a little bit. That's why I train the way I do, because I notice if I stay 5 days a week, 5 to 6 days, I'm very stable, right? I'm very stable with my strength. But if I start to back off, I'm only training 2 or 3 days, then it starts to go down a little bit because I'm kind of out of touch with the coordination that's needed to be able to get the most out of my workout, right? Yeah. Okay, Chrono's saying he gets elbow pain when he's doing overhand pull-ups but not chin-ups. Any thoughts? Are you extending at the bottom? Are you doing this? The thing that I tell everybody not to do? Are you straightening your arms at the bottom, Chrono? Answer me that. Because if you're straightening your arms at the bottom, that's for sure the reason why you're getting elbow pain. And if you've been tuning into my channel and you're not, okay, I really watch what you're doing. Even videotape yourself with your phone. Just watch. Because if you're doing this, never relax the bicep. Never relax the bicep at the bottom, because that will F your, okay, Shakti Shaker, thanks. Brachioradialis, yeah, you think it's brachioradialis, which is, in here. The bottom line, though, is that when you're straightening the arm, then the tendons and ligaments and stuff are taking the damage, and they're going to start flaming up, and then your muscles might start spasming to compensate for that. So the way you counteract that is you make sure you keep the bicep tight. Always keep the arm slightly bent. You'll notice when I do lat pull downs, I never do this. I never, ever do this. And some people think it's because I'm cheating. It's like, no, it's just because I want to keep that bicep tension on there and the lat tension and make sure the shoulder is together, right? So, yeah, that's right, Alex. Yeah, I know. It's like a miracle opens up. When you start actually working with your body and you stop, you stop jujitsuing yourself. It's amazing what happens. But also when you're doing the pull-ups like this, and you're getting a brachioradialis type pain or a pain in the elbow, you may have some trigger points in here and stuff that's also contributing to it. There may be some sort of forearm sort of stuff that you need to get some massage done. And somebody there was saying brachioradialis, which is a trigger point in here that you need to get worked on, the massage therapist. And that may help, okay? But yeah, it's most likely some sort of forearm thing that's going on. You're probably straightening the arm, you probably inflamed the area, and that's probably where you're getting the pain. Yeah, Sean Pavlik, nice to see you again there, buddy. Yeah, your university gym is like a joint massacring funhouse. I know, but that's because that's what's trendy on the internet right now, and that's why I've been called, all the bad words or whatever. I don't want to offend anybody, but all the words that I've been called over the last, 4 years of having this channel, and this is why this channel has been so hard to get going, is because a lot of people think being alpha is fucking stupid. They think they align being dumb with being more alpha. And doing something that's basically going to break your body in half, that somehow means you're more of a man. This is basically a misunderstanding. It's kind of like me driving a Porsche, but trying to make it into a 4x4 and saying there's something wrong with the Porsche because it can't go up the straight mountain, right? So yeah, there's this grand misunderstanding with training. But once you understand how to work with the muscles and say, okay, this is how muscles function, they actually protect the joints. The goal is not to put them in a place where they cannot do their job anymore. You just want to get them better at their job, but that doesn't mean by putting them in a place where it's impossible for them to do their job. Then you start to actually grow quite a bit. Yeah, you need to eat too, RoboWarrior, for sure. Yeah, you need to eat more calories and stuff too when it comes down to growing muscle, for sure. Yeah. Okay, let me just see here. See who's talking here. Okay. So yeah, Chrono, I hope that helps you out a little bit there. I know Shakti Shaker has a lot of knowledge there, so if you want to ask him a couple questions, guys, he knows a lot of stuff about the body. Actually, okay, Joe Recon, that's a very good question. Should you suck your abs in or push them out during squats? See, that's the problem with using a belt, is that the belt encourages you to stick your abs out, okay? But really, the transverse abdominis, or the core, is activated by sucking your belly button towards your spine. So actually what you do is you suck your belly button in towards your spine, and that's how you activate the actual core, okay? So yeah, make sure you do that. Whenever you squat or deadlift or bend over row, you suck that stomach in. That's a really powerful way to keep that back tight. Okay. Jay, do I lift in a specific range for mass, power versus aesthetics? Honestly, RoboWare, I lift in whatever way that my body lets me lift in order to just get bigger and stronger, and that's it. Yeah, I lift in whatever way I can just to put muscle on. Whatever is actually going to put muscle on. And, you know, of course, because of the joint injuries in a couple areas, just because of hockey and stuff, it's changed the way I move in certain ways. But ultimately, yeah, I'm always trying to just put on muscle, really. And naturally, what's happening is I'm putting on some aesthetic type of muscle mass, because if you put on muscle, it naturally does come on in a balanced way when you're working all the different muscle groups. I think, especially if your genetics are already there for the shape, you know, so. Okay, so Jasim Qureshi is asking, what are some good exercises to train your side delts? I just can't seem to feel them when I use dumbbells and always end up activating my front delts or traps. I want to add the width to my frame. Okay, so the thing is, Jasim, a lot of people do lateral raises wrong. Now, I hate watching myself on YouTube, okay, when I'm doing lateral raises, because my arms, like my elbows are bent kind of funny, you know, like just the way I'm built, right? They're just built funny, plus the broken arm and stuff. So it makes it look like I'm internally rotating my arms so much, like this, but I'm actually not really. I'm actually concentrating on just keeping them flat, like parallel to the floor, okay? So the thing is that what you want to do is keep your palms facing the floor, okay, when you're doing lateral raise. Now the other thing, I saw a guy in the gym the other day doing a lateral raise like an idiot, like this, like flapping a chicken, like he wasn't actually even doing a lateral raise. So work with lightweight and see which ranges kind of work. Just mess around with, you know, like don't rotate up like this. Don't try to rotate up like this. Turn your hand in like this, like so. Basically, the palm is facing like parallel to the floor, okay. So when you do this, you'll start to bring in more of your side delt, right? So just go through the motion nice and slow. You don't have to basically have your arms coming too far forward. You want them out at your side, but start messing around with different ranges and see how to work that side delt, because it is a very effective side delt movement, but you might have trouble with it if you're doing it wrong. The other thing is you can actually lay on an incline like this. You can make an incline like kind of almost like 45 degrees. Okay, 1 second here. I'm going to take care of John Milton. Okay, you're blocked there, buddy. Okay, so anyway, the other thing is when you're on a 45-degree incline, what you can do is just use light dumbbell and then just lift off to the side like this. That'll work the supraspinatus, but it actually does work the side delt quite well, okay? So just lay on the side on an incline and just do this, nice and light, right? Up and down like this. That'll help. You'll definitely get some side delt development out of that. Sorry guys, I just had to ban somebody who's being an idiot. No problem there, JT2000. If you guys, and just, you know, for any of you guys new, I'll have to do a word from our sponsor. Anyway, sponsor is, if you guys want to donate to these super chats or to these live streams, you can donate down here or over here, okay, or wherever it is. Anyway, you can donate and press the $ donate there. But if you want, you can actually go to my website, because YouTube takes quite a high percentage of that. So you go to my website and just go to donate, and you can actually donate a couple dollars or whatever to these live streams, which I do every week on Saturdays, right? And I'm uploading all week too, so don't worry, I'm not abandoning you. You guys can't pay me anything, that's okay too. I still love you anyway, but just, you know, if you want to donate, that's great. Thanks. Anton, I've answered you a couple times already, so sorry, I'm trying to get everybody going here. So 1 second here. All right. I gotta scroll up. All right. Nada, how important is fiber in your diet, Jason? I'd say it's pretty important. If you don't shit for a month, you're gonna have some problems. you know. But some fiber is different than others. Like if I had psyllium husk or if I had fiber through apples and stuff, you'll notice it's different. Like sometimes you do need, like when I went on really low carb diets for a while, or low starch anyway, say to have like some almonds and stuff, yeah, there's some fiber in nuts and things, and then I'd have chicken breast and steak and stuff and avocado, but I wasn't getting a lot of fiber. And then I'd need to do a day where I did actually a lot more carbohydrates, like starch through brown rice or something. And when I did more brown rice, then all of a sudden my digestion started to change and stuff, and it got a lot better again. So the thing is that you have to take some fiber in, for sure. If you're not taking fiber in, then you're not going to be clearing, and then you'll end up retaining water as well. And sometimes retaining water will keep you from looking good on stage. So if bodybuilding and the stage is your goal, you definitely want to make sure that you're clearing out any of this, digested food in your system. Yeah, Robo Warrior, you're finding that for growth, focusing on muscle with real heavy weight for a couple sets and then switching to lighter weight for a couple rep burn sets works great. Yes, and that's the truth, and that's what I found. And the thing is that there's two different types of failure, and I did a video on this. There's two different types of failure. Okay, watch that video, guys, if you haven't watched it. The two different types of failure, one is the burn and energy exhaustion keeps you from continuing the set, and the other one is you just can't push. Like no matter what, you just can't push. It's like a strength failure. Two different types of failure. Now the strength failure, where you're lifting super heavy weight, it is going to be more dangerous on the tissues, and you will have more problems if you have an injury and stuff like that, but it also is necessary in order to push into that realm of strength and gaining some strength. Now, when you do this, just like I did with 4 plates last night for squats, I was doing like sets of 8 reps, just pushing, but I wasn't pushing into a place where I was hitting energy fatigue. I was just trying to challenge the tissues, okay, by lifting an extra heavy weight in the nervous system, okay? So by doing that, then when I go do a rep out day of 15, 20 reps, 30 reps, and hit failure, an actual to burn and get failure, then I'm hitting the other muscle fibers, and those two things together is a synergistic anabolic bomb. It makes muscles grow like crazy. Digweed is asking about standing lateral dumbbell raises versus sitting lateral raises. My thoughts. I've always done standing. Sitting is still good. It'll change everything. I think it's good too. Hey Rob, nice to meet you, man. Good to see you from Australia there. Love people from Australia. They're awesome. So dumbbell raises seated are pretty good. It'll change your position though, because ultimately when you stand up, your position is going to be slightly different than when you sit. I'd say just whatever one you feel works better for you is good. I mean, obviously variation is a spice of life, and variation is really important in bodybuilding. So sometimes when you go from standing to sitting, that slight variation, no matter how much it seems like the same thing, it will hit different muscle fibers and it'll be an effective way to grow. So yeah, try it out or integrate both in your workouts. Alex Fellardo, yeah, I think your biggest meal of the day should be right after your workout for sure. So yeah, that would include carbs and everything. Yeah, I think people they overanalyze this GH level shit and testosterone and stuff. Honestly, it's just there's so much crap going around. But food, eat, train, sleep, automatic gains. That's what happens. And I think people are trying to, everybody's trying to game the system. They think it's like YouTube or Facebook where you can somehow spam or pay for views and shit. But the body's not really like that. There's no game, there's no quick way, and as much as people try to come up with ways of, somehow my GH levels will be higher, and guess what? You're not eating when you go to bed at night anyway, and when you sleep, and you're in, your growth hormone levels are already coming in. So I wouldn't worry about micromanaging the hormones. I would just worry about, are you eating enough food, are you training, and are you sleeping? And is your stress levels, of course, in some sort of check there, right? Because stress levels will kill your hormone levels every day of the week. Like I noticed the week that we had a bunch of stuff going on in the house as far as my eating was off, and there was like lots of like emergency type situations going on with finance, trying to basically make sure everything was in alignment. The next week, yeah, my body looked flatter because it was just, there was a whole other emergency going on besides the physical muscular emergency, right? So yeah, you want to make sure you take care of all those parameters, but I wouldn't worry too much. I know it's fun to talk about these things, but I wouldn't worry too much about holding off. I'd say if you're starving yourself, not eating for the sake of bringing in the growth hormone, it doesn't matter how much growth hormone you have in your system. If you have no food, you're not going to build any muscle anyway. And I've seen a lot of these unnatural bodybuilders that talk about like there's always this, an idiot drug dealer in the gym or something. And then they'll always come up to me and say, oh yeah, well, hey, what do you use? And this and I'm like, no, I'm a natural bodybuilder. Like, really? What? And then they'll tell me that they're on growth hormone and this and that. And they always look like shit. I'm telling you, these guys, they're on all these different hormones and they look like crap. So don't overestimate hormones. I would say hormones are a side effect of what you're doing in your system, but don't try to game them. I think eating, training, and taking care of things, I think it's naturally going to happen. Balkanus Partisan, I think you should go ask Cali Muscle that. And I think there are a lot of different videos out there that you can actually ask about that. I'm not going to go in there and talk about that. But he has never competed in a WNBF polygraph tested show or a urine tested show that was urine tested and polygraph tested. And then, so if that doesn't answer your question, then you can go ask him. Static Dream Entertainment. Yeah, thanks, Ben. Hey, why do you call yourself Static Dreams Entertainment? I want to know. I'm always curious because I always think about my music and stuff and like, you're Static Dreams Entertainment. Who is that? What does he do? What kind of entertainment does he do? Are you doing video game things or what? What are you doing? Brian Marquez, can you ever be an IFBB Pro #1 as a natural? You could get your pro card probably. Yeah, there's a possibility. I won the BCs as a natural, and I'm sure that I probably could, if I really would have kept with it, there's a possibility I could have won my division at the Canadians and possibly got a pro card at some point. But would you be able to do anything in the pros? Probably not. Yeah, because, the guys my height would be about 60 pounds heavier at the same body fat level. How could I compete with that, right? Yeah, Chrono, very good. That's nice that you shared that. Yeah, there was actually one study that was done, and it showed the men with the lowest hormone levels in the control group made the most gains. Yeah, no, sometimes it's the truth. Yeah, it's so funny. I find, I'm going to just have a moment here. Grandpa Jason's going to talk for a second, okay? I find a lot of times I have to, I'm sharing what I know, right? Based on what I've done competing and everything. But a lot of times I find people come on my channel and they'll say, well, this person says this person says that, this person says this. But a lot of these people haven't really done what I've done. So sometimes I kind of get a little bit annoyed of having to weigh what they said because I don't give a shit what they said. I'm telling you what I know and what I discovered. And it's up to you whether you want to believe it or not. But yeah, sometimes it's kind of frustrating being on YouTube because it's a perpetual place of a million people having, like they're all experts. And some of them are. And some of them are actually experts. I'm not going to say they're not. But at the same time, sometimes it's kind of frustrating. Sometimes it's frustrating. Yeah. Having to constantly argue why what you know is true, So it's kind of funny. Okay, Static Dreams Entertainment, thanks for answering that. It was the name of an entertainment agency you used to own. Okay, all right. Yeah, Jazim, you said, yeah, there's so many interactions of hormones in our body that we can't make basic conclusions, like many websites and people try to make. Yeah, that's true, because I know a lot of guys that are, that have tried to outsmart their bodies and they end up screwing themselves up quite well. And I actually trained an endocrinologist before, and he said it's extremely complicated. I mean, he had no clue about bodybuilding or lifting weights or anything, but he was actually from Australia. He was coming up here and he knew me from the magazines and stuff, and he wanted to hire a personal trainer just to go through some workouts. And yeah, we had an interesting conversation. He said, yeah, it's just way more complicated than people know, Okay. Yeah, Kurt Bianchi. Hey, don't call me Grandpa, man. Don't call me Grandpa. I can call myself Grandpa. You can't call me Grandpa. Brian Marquez, how many grams of protein do you consume per body weight? Right now, what I'm doing is I'm probably consuming about 200 grams to 250 grams a day. And a lot of that's coming from protein powder, or at least 100 grams, 150 grams of it, just for fun. Okay, I'm just actually doing an experiment with some protein powder that's sweet with stevia. It's a whey isolate. I'm going to do a video on this, but I'm just playing around with that because it's better than drinking coffee all the time or something, or You know, I drink water and lemon as well with some stevia in there, so that tastes pretty good. So I'm just playing around with just drinking in some more protein to see if I get some more gains and some more results from that. And I feel pretty good. So yeah, I'm just playing around with that. But really on average, it's about 1 gram per pound of body weight is the recommended dose. That's what you should stick to. That's what you should center your diet around. Brian Marquez, you're natural and you live in Los Angeles. What's a natural competition you can compete in? Join my Natural Gallant bodybuilding group on Facebook, guys, if you haven't already. But a natural bodybuilding federation you can compete in is the WNBF. That's the only one that I know of right now that is extremely legit because they do polygraph test as well as urine test. Whereas, you know, you go to the Muscle Manias or any of these, they're not even testing. They're doing the random urine test once in a while, and, you know, that's always, yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to say anything more on that, but the bottom line is the WNBF is the only one that I know that does both. So that's what I would recommend if you're planning on competing in a natural show. I'm sure that there are other federations. I'm not saying all federations are shit. I'm just saying WNBF from my experience is good. So. Anton, yeah, drink water regularly. You should never really let yourself get thirsty, actually. Yeah. HN, you've been doing a program 3x5 for a couple of months, and then you get good strength gains, but you're getting joint pain. What rep range should you change to 10 to 15 or 15 to 30? I'd say both. Why not? You know, just change them up, mix it up, play around, have fun. That's the thing with the higher reps. It helps your joints heal from the lower reps. The lower reps are necessary, but if you do them too much, you break. So you have to, you know, mix it up, right? So if you want a template, I have templates on my website, my training programs. I have a workout programs on my site, and you can buy one of them. They're only 20 to 25 bucks on there, so really cheap. And basically, they'll give you a template of what to work out with. And depending on what kind of frequency of program you want to deal with, or if you want to do a 3-day whole body workout, or if you want to do a 2-day split where you're working out 5 to 6 days a week, there's different options. So go on there if you want the template. But yeah, switch the reps up. Definitely switch the reps up. Drew Garton, I competed in the INBA. Now, okay, now I'm not sure if the INBA is associated with the ABA, and I will say to you right now, I do not like the ABA. I'll tell you that right now. If they are associated with the ABA, I do not like the ABA. So I'm not even going to say why or when or what, but I don't like the ABA. I am not recommending the ABA. Yeah. I'm going to go into this. If it's the ABA, okay. Thanks, Terrence Lucas. Thanks, buddy. Nice to see you. Okay, the ABA, one thing I didn't like about the ABA was that when I competed with them in the 97 and 98 and stuff, and I went to Las Vegas, I was told there would be ESPN coverage. I was told a lot of crap. And then when I showed up to the show, there was like, I brought more people to the competition than were actually there watching. I brought 20 people from BC. They all flew to Las Vegas. And in the audience, there was like only, you know, another 30 or 40 people watching. Like there was absolutely no coverage, no exposure for the athletes. And everything was done cheap. My trophy fell apart in the bag on the way to the hotel. And that was back then. So I don't know what they're running like now, but if they're the same way, it just really felt like a money-hungry organization to me. It didn't feel like it was about the athletes, and I didn't like it. With the WNBF, I disagreed with some of the things they did because they're trying to own the competitors and saying you can't compete in the IFBB shows, only compete with us, we own you because you're in our magazine and all that. But they weren't really giving you a living. They weren't really giving you money. They weren't giving you contracts, but then they wanted exclusivity, so that was kind of shit. But from a natural point of view, though, the WNBF was legit. They were actually really helping people as far as they were doing real good polygraph tests and the urine tests. Everything was very legit. So that's what I like. So if you want my 2 cents on the natural federations, right? The problem is that the natural federations are businesses. You know, just like everything's a business. Even this YouTube channel is a business. Like I can't afford to spend 30 hours a week doing something unless it somehow sustains itself. So it's the same thing with any sort of natural bodybuilding organization. But the caveat to that is that it has to help people and give them at least as much value as they're giving. You know, so if you're giving $100 for a competition or $200 or $1,000 to getting ready for a competition and dedicating your life to something, then they've got to at least give you that type of value back in some form, right? And that's what I'm trying to do with this channel. I'm trying to give 10 times more value than what I'm receiving from you guys. And hopefully I'm succeeding at that, but that's really what a successful business model is. You're giving so much that a person can recognize that what you're doing is of value, right? So anyway, yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. Okay, you guys are having a nice conversation here. I'm at a party, but I'm kind of left by myself, talking to myself in a corner. That's what it feels like when I'm talking to the phone here. It feels like you guys are having this great conversation, this great fun, and I'm just sitting here just watching. I'm just like, okay, somebody let me in on the conversation. Oh God, that's so funny. Big bad marketer, how much do I bench press? The most I ever bench pressed was 425. After I dislocated my shoulder, it screwed up my bench groove, and so much of bench press is groove. It's not necessarily strength, although that's part of it, but if your groove goes off, that'll screw up your bench. So now I just do 275 for sets of anywhere from 8 to 16 reps, depending on how much of a pump I have that day and how much food I've got in my system and what body fat level I'm at or whatever, right? So that's where I'm at. Can my bench go up? Yes, it can, but I've been trying to be careful and trying to work with the body in whatever it lets me do. So sometimes I'll have strength phases where my body feels like I can lift heavier without joint pain or any problems. And then other times I'm like making sure that I'm repping out and just putting on muscle mass, right? So I always listen to my body. Somebody asked me last night, they said, Jason, are you going heavy today? And I honestly told them, I said, I don't know. It depends on what my body tells me. So I feel my way through my workout, and then my body will tell me, can I lift heavier? And if I can, then I will. If it feels like it's safe and it's a smart decision, then I'll do that. But I never want to risk a pec tear or a herniated disc or something just because I'm pushing, because that's what I had a plan of doing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's kind of it. Oh, thanks, Marwin. Thanks for the $5 there, buddy. Hello, Jason. 35% body fat. Do I have to eat 4 to 6 times a day to control blood sugar in order to lose body fat? I can't eat more than 3 times a day. Why can't you eat more than 3 times a day? That's what I want to ask. Is it a work thing or is it a preparation thing? Like, why is that? Because it is tougher to maintain a stable blood sugar level if you're only eating 3 times a day. That's all I can say. Okay, work. Okay, so the other thing you could do, which could work, is you could switch to a protein and higher fat diet. And because protein and fat will burn off at a slower rate than carbs. So a low-fat diet will cause you to have to eat more frequently because the carbs, they burn real quick, they're combustible, where fat burns like a kerosene lamp. So I think you would be able to actually eat 3 times, or at least if you're going to be able to get away with it, you'll be able to have a better chance of stabilizing your blood sugar with a low-carb, higher-fat, higher-protein diet. So avocado salads with chicken and steak and fish and salad and greens, but make sure you have fats through nuts and almond butter, all that kind of stuff. That will probably be a better diet for you to stick to if you want to lose body fat. But you'll have to lower those carbs down. You have to bring those carbs down because you're going to be having a lot more fat, right? But that will probably be more effective if all you can eat is 3 times. Now, if you can, you could sneak some cashews or some almonds or some types of nuts in your pocket and then chew on a couple of those. That would be ideal if you could do that throughout the day, so that way you keep that body, that blood sugar very stable, okay? So that's the best thing I would do. Chrono, you're talking about you may not gain fat directly, but having small food allergies will have an cumulative effect on performance and retaining water. Yeah, food allergies, just so you guys know, doesn't necessarily mean to be an allergy, but there can be a food sensitivity. Sometimes if you have trauma around a certain food, and I talked about this before, you will retain water. So sometimes you might be at a really low body fat percentage, and then you eat a certain food, and all of a sudden, boom, it looks like you put on 4% body fat immediately. It's kind of like it's a mild edema, you know what I mean? When somebody eats like peanut butter or gets a bee sting, and also they just swell up. It's the same sort of thing. That happens at a minor level. And it is good to work with that. Sometimes going to a naturopath and finding out what foods you're sensitive to can really help you find the perfect foods for you to eat, and then at the same time start to clear out those sensitivities that are causing you to have reactions to those foods, right? Because obviously the less options you have, the harder it is to actually eat healthy and be on a diet, right? How many liters of water do I recommend a day? Probably more than I'm drinking, but I'd say at least a couple, 2 to 3 liters probably. Yeah, RoboWarrior, you eat that when you eat an entire pizza. You should. That's just like saying I get a little bit of water retention when I eat an entire Volkswagen. I mean, come on. Yeah, you should be retaining water after that. It's funny. Yeah, no, pizza will do it, but pizza's good, isn't it? It's worth it, isn't it, RoboWarrior? It's worth it. Pizza is worth it. There's the best pizza here. If you're ever in Maple Ridge, and some of you might be from Maple Ridge that are on here right now, I don't know. But if you're ever in Maple Ridge, go to Frogstone and get the Thai chicken pizza. It is the best pizza It is the best pizza I've ever eaten. I mean, it is absolutely totally addictive. I love it. I'm not even really a pizza guy, but that pizza is good. So it's called Frogstone. You guys have to go there. If I could show a clip, I would right now. If I was like Jay Leno or something, I could show a clip. Yeah, excess iron when you eat a car. Yeah, you gotta watch that, Robo. Yeah, Robo Warrior. Well, I guess you're being called Robo. Maybe that's what this is all about. Maybe we're finally getting to the source of it here, right? Yeah. Speaking of how many liters of water, I might have to use the washroom pretty quick here. Okay. Yeah, I'm glad I could help there, Marwan. Yeah, try that out, and then, like I said, pack a bag of nuts or beef jerky or something like that in your pocket, or salmon jerky or something like that, and then you can take a chew of that here and there too, so that'll help you be able to stick to a diet, and it'll work. It will work. Okay, Paul Hempel saying, when changing the program, is it necessary to also change the type of split, or is it enough to do variations of the movements you did before? It is actually enough for you to change the exercises or to change the rep ranges, change range of motion, change the volume, like the amount of sets that you do. It doesn't have to necessarily be a different split altogether, although that is also another variation and another very effective way of causing the body to adapt in a different way. Because when you train a body part once every 3 days and say you're doing 15 sets for that body part, it will be a different experience than training a body part every 2 days and say only doing 6 to 8 sets. You'll just have a different experience because you're also going to have a cumulative effect of soreness when you're doing a 2-day split, because you do 6 sets on Tuesday and then you're doing another 6 to 8 sets or something like that on Thursday. You'll still be sore from Tuesday, so Tuesday's still affecting your Thursday, you see? But when you do a 3-day split, what will happen is that you'll actually have an extra rest day, and so there'll be a different experience of each day. So each thing is different in its own right, but yeah, it's enough to change in any way. Any way you want to, any variation will definitely produce a different result and cause a certain different adaptation in the body. All right there, Chrono. Yeah, nice to see you. Have fun at the party. I want to see you bust those moves out, and I want you to send me the video, and I'll put it on one of my videos. Hey? Bust those moves out. I want to see it on video. You send me that video at naturalgallant@hotmail.com. You send me that video. I want to see those moves, man. I'll even put music to it. Seriously. Alex Fellardo, are you a personal trainer? You're asking what's the #1 tip for personal trainers to be effective. Are you a personal trainer, Alex? Just ask me, answer that if you get a chance. You are, okay, you are a personal trainer, okay. I think the number one reason why I got out of personal training, honestly, is because it was never really about training that often. It was more about personal. So I was dealing with people with everything from drug addiction to alcoholism to all sorts of things going on. They're going through different personal things in their life. So to be effective, somehow you have to help them deal with their emotional stress more so, in many cases, more so than a lot of times just a simple training program. That was the most challenging part for me. It was hard to actually work with people when their emotional drama was actually pulling them out of what they needed to do when they were in the gym. Now maybe that's just a dynamic that I am, because I became a spiritual healer and a teacher. Maybe that was what I was meant to do at some point, and maybe these people were kind of mirroring that for me. But the fact is that I found that was the biggest challenge. But if we're going to talk about just the mechanics of physique and physical fitness, what's the best way you can help people is, what you're doing as a personal trainer is that you're holding what you know to be true inside you so deeply that that person can trust in that and follow you in it. And it's almost like you're a safety net for them, because you can see the dangers lying ahead and you can help protect them from some of the injuries or some of the problems that might come up if they do something that is not necessarily right for them, right? So the problem I find with a lot of beginner personal trainers, which you probably are not, but a lot of the beginner personal trainers, the younger guys, they will look at everybody as just themselves and say, oh, that person has to train exactly like I did because look how great I am. I am 20. I know everything. You know, and I think every one of us has been in that stage, because you always get to the top of a mountain, think that's the top mountain, but there's always another mountain to climb. And I found that, and I'm finding it now, even watching one of the trainers that's in my gym. He trains everybody just the way he thinks they should train based on the way he moves. But honestly, it's just stupid in some cases. And I've seen him injure some people, although It's never really been talked about out loud, but I see them complaining and talking and stuff. So, yeah, CSM 132, nice to see you, buddy. Good night. So the bottom line is honor the individuality in each person. That's the best way you can be a good trainer, I think, is honor how they move, honor what's going on with them at that time, and don't force them into something that you think they should be doing because you can do it, you know? And I think most personal trainers do this to a point. They don't say, okay, I can do 500 pounds, so you got to do 500 pounds right now. But I'm saying even when it comes down to form and how a movement should be performed, find out how their joints move. Find out what they're doing. Where are they feeling it? Teach them how to be aware. That's really important. Teach them how to be aware of what's really happening. That's where I think you're going to get the most results, because there's going to be some wisdom that emerges from their body that is going to be different than what worked for you. I think that's the best way. So yeah, maybe that helps you out, Alex. I don't know, but yeah, I think that's great. And if you're not, if you're a more likable character than I am, then you'll probably have a lot more success than I did. But but the thing is that being likable really helps you in that business. That's for sure. Yeah, Alex. Yeah, no, you're probably gonna have no problem. Like I said, you're probably likable. Me, I was hated anyway, so now I'm on YouTube where everybody hates everyone, so it's good. No, it's good, yeah. It gets really personal. And you know what? You can send them to my other YouTube channel. If they have a lot of emotional pain or something like that, send them to my other YouTube channel called Jason J. Gallant, or jasongallant.ca, my other website, which is to do with meditation and everything. Send them there, and I'll help you on that that point, so that way you don't have to deal with all the other stuff. I'll help you with that. So that's my other work, right? So, but yeah. Ultimately, that's the biggest challenge as a personal trainer, is not to get dragged into people's stress as they bring it into the gym every day. Yeah. Yeah, Robo Warrior, you're right. You're probably part Viking or something. You probably don't have to follow the same advice. That's why it is so important to be individualized. You have to really find out what works for you and push your boundaries, see where those are at. And all you can do is try to push conservatively so that you don't break something in half in the process. But ultimately, mistakes are part of life. There's no way of avoiding them. You are going to break something at some point or hurt something, and then just make adjustments and grow from it and become wiser. And that's what I did, and I think that's what a lot of you guys on here are doing. I know some of you guys are having a debate here. Jasmine's talking about calories in, calories out is pretty much the one truth anyone can expect. I stick by that. Well, you know what? I'm going to say that's not necessarily true when it comes down to a certain result. Now, just hear me out. I'm not saying you're wrong. I mean, you're right in a certain way. But I do know that if I eat a certain type of calorie, like a protein, as opposed to just a calorie through sugar, I have a totally different result in how I feel. Totally different. If I eat 100 calories of Skittles and I eat 100 calories of protein, you've got a totally different human being standing here and sitting here in front of you. And my physique will look different. My pump will be different. Everything will be different. So calories in, calories out is not necessarily the one truth, just so you know. It's not. A calorie is not a calorie. That's it. Yeah. There you go. Okay, good. Good, Jasmine. So good. You and I are on the same plan there, same program. Good. Okay, just so you know, because I think, you know, a lot of us try to oversimplify this whole process, and I think it's really likable for the mind. You know, I think we all want to simplify our life, but sometimes if you get too simple, you'll notice that there's some flaws in that plan once you start to really apply it, right? Like if I eat 100 calories of dog shit and then I eat 100 calories of protein, it's probably totally different feeling. So yeah. So anyway, okay, good. So at least we're all talking on the same page there. I think the funny thing is most of you guys would probably agree with each other. If you guys all sat down, it'd be funny. I'm gonna actually do this one day. Like when my channel gets bigger, and I know that some of you guys would actually want to make the effort. I'm gonna run like a bodybuilding weekend or a workshop or something out where I live, by the hotel or something like that, and then we'll all train and go over things and talk and stuff. And I think a lot of you guys would probably really agree with each other. And it would be really interesting for you to see how you all are agreeing, but at the same time, you could see how the exact advice might have to be applied a little bit differently to this person over here, and how they notice that there's a total different result, right? So I think it's kind of neat once you start to find out where you guys agree, because I think most of you are debating about stuff you agree on. And the condiments on dog shit, I think kitty litter. What kind of condiments would you recommend for dog shit? Kitty litter. I think kitty litter would probably be a nice little crunch on that, and I think that that's probably a good, and minty, I think. I think it would actually add a bouquet. Is that what they say, a bouquet to the... I'm a French cook now, eh? I'm a French cook. Okay. Hey, Red Blur. Thanks, buddy. Nice to see you here. Yeah, which works. I thought that's what you were saying. And you know, that's the thing about texting in this day and age. Isn't it a problem? I hate it. Like, just so you guys know, okay, I know I've only got a few of you here, but if I ever answer one of your comments and it comes across short on YouTube or something, just know it's only because I'm busy at the laptop doing a number of different things. It's not because I'm trying to be rude, because sometimes I just answer and I answer, it almost sounds very robotic in a comment. But it's just that I don't have time to kind of flower it up for a whole book or something, and with all the smiley faces and flowers and all this shit. But usually it's I'm trying to be polite, but stuff never comes across that way. Sometimes in comments, in texting and stuff, and I think that's kind of starts a lot of fights that probably wouldn't even be happening if people met face to face. Paul Hempel, I actually answered your question before. When changing the program, I answered that. I answered that question. So just scroll back about 20 minutes. I answered your question. And I even said your name out loud, so maybe you left to go to the bathroom or something. Oh, Kurt, yeah. Yeah, that kitty litter, I think, would add a real nice crunch. I think it's, yeah. I think it would be special. Yeah, that's you guys. Find out how many macros are in a pound of dog shit and kitty litter sprinkled on top. Find out, and then I want you to eat that for a week and then see what happens. Yeah, I don't think anybody would follow that program for very long. Drew Garton, where someone should start if they're interested in getting into the spiritual side of things that your other channel promotes. And just so you guys know, spirituality I'm promoting, but it's not you know, nothing religious or anything. Not that I'm against religion or it's just there's certain techniques in helping you be more aware and be here. And sometimes it's really about mastery of the mind so that you realize that you are something other than the mind. And what that means is when you're not thinking, you still exist. Every one of you knows this. But a lot of times you've been thinking so often and for so long that you've forgotten that you're not the thinking. That's really the essence of what I'm teaching. So what is the best way to start? Practice. Practice meditation, practice being here, sometimes gazing at something like a candle, or just gazing at a picture, or just gazing at a tree, or just sitting here and just remembering that you are something that is beyond thought. You don't have to think about that in order for that to happen. So the remembering doesn't have to happen through a mental, but it can happen through an experiencing, okay? So as you do this, some really amazing things will start to happen in how you experience life. And yeah, a good place to start is with that. Now, if you have trouble with the mind, you can start with a mantra. And there are Sanskrit mantras of different religions and stuff that work very well. Mantra is nothing more than Sanskrit for to free from the mind. Ganesha mantra is a great one to start with. I have a bunch of mantras on my other website called jasongallant.ca if you want to go there. And there's downloadable forms, and there's actually energetic transmissions and attunements on there. Okay, so this is something different. You could look at it as energetic bodybuilding that I did. That's kind of the next bodybuilding program that I went on after my natural bodybuilding career stopped briefly for that period of time, and I went into the whole meditation thing. But yeah, that's a good way to start. Is start with a mantra, and then you start by just closing your eyes for 5 or 10 minutes a day before you go to bed or whatever, and just be here with your mantra and just sit there. And at some point, you'll get stronger at it. Right? Okay, let me just look here, see what else is here. Okay, good. I think I answered all your guys' questions pretty much. Hello from Japan. Chris Whitehead, you're here from Japan. Nice to see you, guy. Nice to see you on the channel and everything. Okay. Let me see. Any more questions, guys? Before I go, I'm going to go pretty quick here. I've been on here for, well, wow. I've been on here for almost 2 hours straight. My God. Man, at minimum wage, I wouldn't even get hired. And, geez, this is not a good... This business model is not working out very good. Oh well, okay. Okay, so Witcher Works, yes, I will be doing a 3-day split for a 6-day a week workout. I will be writing one up, okay? Next week, that will be on my website. I did just finish the 3-day workout B program that's on my website right now, so yeah. Yeah, RoboWarrior, minimum wage is 15 an hour almost. I've been on here for 2 hours and I made way less than 15 bucks. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not even making minimum wage. It's bad. Yeah, Chris Whitehead, I actually talked about Arginine earlier on in this video. So once I stop this cast, you can actually go on there, okay? And just to re-watch this and you'll actually find out that I talk about Arginine. and I talked about NO2 products and stuff, and some of them that I liked, right? So there you go. So I did answer that question already, so in this actual cast. But yeah, I did like Arginine for sure. But the Arginine supplements that are out right now, I don't really like as much. Yeah. Terrence, you can go to my website then. Just go to my website, naturalgallantbodybuilding.com, and you could just donate through the donations button there if you want, okay? Yeah, thanks, Chris. And I've seen some of the comments you left, Chris. You've left some really nice positive comments on my channel, so thanks a lot for that. It's always really helpful for me and really nice to have some of you guys on my channel that are actually leaving positive things because it helps offset some of the negativity that's kind of going on. I've been trying my best to keep it at a minimum, and it's been, seeming some of the fires have gone out lately. But basically, it really helps for us to just try to keep the positivity high on the channel. I find the energy is just 10 times better. It's just nicer to work with everybody. It drains me much less, I have to say. So thanks. No, and I know Robo Warrior, you're right there. You're always here with me anyway. So yeah, I really value you guys. That's all I'm trying to say is I actually really value you guys for, bringing positivity to the channel and stuff. It really does encourage me to make videos and to help you out, regardless of whether I make a buck or not, honestly. I really enjoy interacting with you and helping you. Okay, so that's my first priority. So thanks a lot, and those of you that have a sense of humor, I appreciate you even more because I know sometimes my humor is goofy and whatever, but I just enjoy just being an idiot because sometimes I feel constrained, right? Sometimes if I do the same type of content all the time, sometimes I got to try something new and just mess around and say, okay, what is the next step? Because my goal is to entertain and to help you at the same time. And I don't want you to be bored every time you tune in the channel. It's just like going to school or something like that. It has to be kind of fun. So yeah, bear with me as I make changes to content from time to time, just kind of changing things up and just trying to find some sort of new way of interacting and having fun, right? So who knows what it'll be next, but yeah, I'll try not to dance too much. We'll see. We'll see. There might be something else though. We'll see. I can't, yeah. Yeah, big band marketer, you're right. I've been getting some hate, and but it's been really good. I'm getting way more. I'm getting way more from. I'm getting way more good from the bad. It is just I know. Okay, big band marketer. My favorite supplements. I've talked about this before, but I'll share it with you. Branched chain amino acids, creatine, glutamine, and I do use whey protein, but I'm not using creatine much anymore. And the reason why I don't use creatine is because it makes me retain water, so then I can't tell what's going on with my diet. So right now I'm trying to lose body fat, but at the same time I'm trying to do it at a really slow rate and put on some muscle at the same time. Okay, so I'm kind of staying at the same leanness area, but I'm trying to put on muscle. So because of that, if I use creatine and stuff, I kind of bloat or water over a little bit, so it's really hard for me to tell whether my food is actually causing me to gain a little bit of weight or not. Okay, so that's why I don't necessarily use creatine, and I don't even use glutamine that much. And even branched chains I use just once in a while, but mainly what I'm doing right now is just protein powder. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing some protein powder isolate. I'll put the link down below, okay? You guys, if you want to know, I'll use an Amazon affiliate link. If you want to try this out, I'm using this type of protein powder. I'll put the link down below. It's sweet with stevia, and it's a whey isolate, and it's totally natural, no preservatives, nothing like that. So if you want to try it out, you can go ahead. I'm enjoying it. It tastes good at least, and it's something for me to drink in between meals and stuff. So, okay. Creatine monohydrate or HCl. You know what? Creatine monohydrate's good, but there was another one that just came out, and my brother was talking about, but I didn't really use it. But I tried it a couple times, and it was actually really effective. And I think it's malate. I think it was malate. I think it was creatine malate. That was actually pretty good. But the thing is with creatine citrate, back in the day, that was actually the most effective. That stuff was really good. And phosphagen by EAS, which was a creatine monohydrate, but I don't know what they did different with that, but that one was really effective actually back in the day too. EAS is creatine monohydrate. Okay, so Marwan's asking, Jason, deadlift, squats, and bench press at 75% rep of max. Is that what you're saying? Are you saying 75% of your 1 rep max? Is that what you're saying? 3 days a week? Will that build muscle? Okay, so it depends how many reps. Depends on what you mean, right? I mean, it can build muscle, but also 75% of your 1 rep max might be too heavy. I don't know how many reps you're getting with that. I think that's a pretty low rep range probably. But yeah, can it build muscle? Yes, it can. But I think in order to really ideally build muscle, you'd be doing something like what I'm doing in my programs where I switch the rep ranges up, where it's not always in the same rep range, because you want to hit the different muscle fibers, and you want to make sure you do that, okay? So just sticking with just always 70% 1 rep max. Yeah, sometimes there will be a certain progression that happens from that, but that's more strength training, which is good. Strength training is good, but at some point when you're lifting in that percentage all the time, you may notice that you wear out, or you start to get injured, or you start to get joint tweaks and stuff. And sometimes you want to do more hypertrophy type training, which means you're repping out with that strength. Okay, so you might be doing 10 or 15 reps now with your sets for your next workout, or 20 reps or whatever. And that will help you put on overall muscle, you know? And overhead presses, you're right, Robo Warrior. Other exercises, yes, definitely. You know, you want to put in other exercises as well. So that's the thing. You want some variation in there as well. So I guess that would be a good way to answering it. If you want, Marwan, though, I strongly encourage you, just check out the workout programs on my website. They're really cheap. They're not expensive or anything. So, but check them out. Take a look. And also take a look at my workout vlogs, and it'll give you an idea of kind of what I do. What you're doing is very relevant. It is a good way to train for a period of time for sure. It is one valid technique, but it is not the only one. And sometimes I find when you incorporate lots of different techniques and you work with different techniques and you rotate them around depending on what you need. Sometimes you need one spice, sometimes you need another, you know, sometimes you need sugar, sometimes you need salt, right? It's the same thing. And then you get an overall better synergistic effect and more training results. Okay, guys. All right, I'll take a look here one more time, and then I think I'm going to take off. Yeah, Chris Whitehead, old school lifting, use 3 days a week for Steve Reeves, for sure. 3 days a week, Steve Reeves, though, method probably wouldn't have worked for me. I did need to intensify more workouts for me. That's what I found, but hey, that's me. Everybody can be different, though. Yeah, see you, Alex. Nice to see you, buddy. And thanks a lot for tuning in, guys. And I'm going to be on here again Saturday next week on the live chat, so make sure you tune in. Somewhere in the afternoon, 12 p.m. Pacific to 2 or 3 p.m. Pacific, somewhere around there. And also, I am going to be uploading probably tonight or tomorrow, and I'll be doing a lot more videos all week, okay? So thanks a lot for tuning in and stuff like that, and supporting the channel in any way you can through sharing these videos or whatever. And thanks a lot. And I'll be on tonight. So guys, you know, feel free to keep tuning in, and make sure you click that bell icon down below. Click the bell beside the subscribe button. And yeah, Chris Whitehead, I don't do collabs because most people don't get back to me because they're more popular and they don't want anything to do with me because I can't give them enough subscribers, right? So that's why. But anyway, the bottom line is click the bell beside the subscribe button and receive notifications. And that way when I upload, you'll get it right away, okay? All right. Thanks a lot, guys, for tuning in. And we'll see you tonight, maybe. Maybe I'll see you tonight. Take care.